your boy Gabriel Hodder. Matthew Oman. We are all fight, no fight, primal fear. And you're watching BJ and DG Talk Wrestling. Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome back, everybody. We have some sad news for you today. We found out just a few minutes ago that DG was fatally shot by his wife in an argument over Doritos.
Freaking Doritos, man. You can't, it's the Doritos. Why is it got to be that Cool Ranch versus the nacho cheese versus the sweet and spicy chili debate all over again? Yeah. It's just,
I mean, it was actually standard Doritos to 3D Doritos, so at least get the story straight.
Okay, well, fair.
We received from false information. I'm sorry. BJ here, DG alive and in the flesh.
What's going on, everybody?
And as always, sometimes Chef the Ref.
What's going on, everybody?
So, what a weekend wrestling, kind of, sort of, I guess, A lot of continuing stuff. Getting us to WrestleMania.
Building up. Yeah. It is happy WrestleMania week, everybody.
Yes. And don't forget, we will be live streaming all WWE wrestling events. So, starting tomorrow night, Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And I screw this stuff up,
Yeah,
gingering it up. We'll be doing Raw, NXT, SmackDown, Go Home shows. And we will be doing Stand and Deliver and nights 1 and 2 of WrestleMania, and then the Raw after Mania to wrap up the entire week.
Yeah, that is a packed schedule for us right there.
It's the most streaming in a single week I've ever done in my life. So,
yep. All right. Well, let's Nelson Saison. Oh, okay. I see it now. Nelson from The Simpsons.
Love the can art here. It's a farmhouse ale with Nelson Sauvignon hops from New Zealand, 7%.
Nice.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
My can art is a lovely red, white, and blue color, made in the Midwest.
Whoop, whoop. And me, I'm just drinking my usual Dr. Pepper at the moment.
I mean, Fago is one of the better soda designs out there, though, if you think about it. Coke is boring, Pepsi is boring.
You dare say that Dr. Pepper's boring, we're going to have a problem.
It's mildly stimulating.
I'll take it.
On that note, let's get into some wrestling talk.
All right, yeah. Speaking of things that were mildly stimulating, was last Sunday's AEW Dynasty pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Don't get it wrong. I thought, because I do believe I'm the only one here who actually watched it.
Yeah, I caught a couple of highlights here and there as I could. I
saw some clips.
I mean, I guess which fits if you ask the IWC, the ratio of fans that actually watch the product, if we were to go 1 out of 3.
There we have it. Math.
But yeah, the pre-show saw the Crew, which is Leo Rush and Action Andretti with Nick Wayne, defeat Top Flight and AR Fox.
We were live for some of that match.
Oh, yes, we were. Anthony Bones returning for the Max Caster Open Challenge.
As called by DG.
Which the Philly crowd really popped for. Like, he got a good pop.
Came out with Billy Gunn.
Yeah, and then they had Will Ospreay defeating Kevin Knight, which is one of my potential match of the week candidates in the Owen quarterfinal for the men. Let's see here. We had the Hurt Syndicate retain against Big Bill and Brian Keith, which kind of spilled into Jericho losing his mind this week on AEW TV. MJF provided some assistance there, which they furthered that storyline as well.
Yep, on Dynamite, yep.
To no surprise, unfortunately, Mercedes Moné defeated Julia Hart in the women's quarterfinal for the Owen. We had the Death Riders retained against Rated FTR, and then FTR turning on Code. Boy,
So at
I
least
mean,
half,
I'm,
saw
I'm
half the FTR deal coming, but the other, Cash Wheel, that was slightly unexpected, but not entirely. Can't say it was entirely unexpected there.
Oh no, not at all. We all speculated on it that it was most likely going to happen. I kind of wish they went with my idea of, even with the turn, somehow them still winning the championships and having to figure all that out.
Yeah,
Especially
having a
going
fraught
forward.
team.
Yeah, especially going forward now that Pac, I mean, hindsight's always 2020. Pac is now injured. He was injured in a match with Osprey. Or not Osprey,
You're summing
Swerve.
up the beer, right? Not the injury.
High Standards, how you doing? And who I think is probably the most over person in AEW personally, we had Timeless Tony Storm with a roll up retaining against Megan Bayne, which I thought was a really good way to do that at the end of that match. It's a roll up. Megan Bayne wasn't outright dominated in the match. I saw people online kind of had, oh, why would you do it like that? Because it shows that Tony Storm was just a step ahead. You know, now we get Megan Bayne destroying the roster to get back to whoever wins that championship at All In. See, I'm not the only one who thinks that about Timeless Tony Storm.
I just don't get it.
And there's
and
the match,
then we had the men's Owens quarterfinal, the other one, where Kyle Fletcher defeated Mark Briscoe, which, boy, did they put on another banger of a match. They've had 3 matches in the past, 8 months. Like with the Continental Classic, and I think there was one a bit before that, or a bit after it, and every match they have is a great match, which Kyle Fletcher is now up 2-1 on Briscoe. Yeah. And then
now, just one thing real quick before we move on. Do we feel like the Owen is moving again towards another Osprey versus Fletcher match here? Because they're on opposite sides of the bracket.
I'm okay with that.
I'm just wondering,
because
we've seen a good amount lately, and but
have we seen
wouldn't hurt to have?
But we haven't seen it yet with a world championship opportunity on the line.
True,
and we also still don't know who Adam Page's opponent is, which I think we find out this week. He has his match, so for all we know, it could be the person coming out of that spot. You know. But as I said, Will Ospreay is one of the few people who should be the face of that company. So I think Ospreay having that championship would be an amazing thing for that company as a whole, and it will let them build to something new, especially if he's the one to knock off Mox, because he's the one who kind of was starting this whole war with them and trying to get everybody together to begin with.
Who's out with a crazy big match and something hanging in the balance? Yeah, exactly.
Now,
to continue this rundown real quick, we then have the Ring of Honor World Championship match, title versus mask, with Chris Jericho versus Bandito. All right, and I'm not going to try to go into this too much, but the ending of this match was absolute garbage. You have Bandito's brother Gravity come out trying to give an assist because Jericho, being the heel that he is, cheating and whatnot, trying to win. You get Aubrey Edwards coming out trying to take Gravity to the back. Now, throughout all this, I forget who the referee in the match was, but they're both paying attention to what's going on in the walkway. Jericho grabs his bat from behind the steel steps, hits Bandito with it. The referee turns around, counts 1, 2, 3. Declares Jericho the winner.
Times, yep.
Yeah,
100 times you've seen this. A million times, whatever.
Yeah. And then you get the sister and mom of Bandito at ringside yelling at the referee saying Jericho used the bat. Jericho used the bat. To who at this point are only fans. They are sitting on the other side. They are not on-screen talent. They are not signed to an AEW contract. They are not an official in any way, shape, or form. And they walk around the barricade, go to the corner, pull the bat out, and then the referee restarts the match. Now, my problem with this isn't the fact that the match was restarted and Bandito eventually won. My problem is that not once was a replay shown. We did not see the referees looking at a monitor, looking at the giant screen at the top of the entranceway, which could have shown the entire spot to everybody.
And even at that point, are we instituting instant replay now in wrestling?
Brian Milky, how you doing?
And
but I'm
Thanks,
saying
Milky, I noticed that line there.
There's been times to where we've seen match restart because another referee came out and pointed out the spot. Like, hey, look, like, especially if it's the head referee running out. Like, no, that's not how this match is ending. It's a championship match, which is let the referee see the replay to make the call. You know, if he chooses to restart there. Which we will get to that again shortly.
Oh, yeah.
But otherwise, I thought the Jericho Bandito match was okay. It wasn't a bad match by any means, but that's a moment that kind of ruins the match. And I even made note in my notes of the show that there was no replay shown to the referee.
Would you say you're not angry about it, but you're disappointed?
I mean, it's AEW, so how much more disappointed can I be?
Well, surely, you know, the referees can mess up once in a while. I mean, you know, as
but
long as it's just once in a while.
I mean, referees are human too.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is them doing that, it makes their referees not look credible. Like they don't know how to referee the sport they're a referee of.
Well, there's worse ways to make referees discredited.
Yeah, but AEW does this on a weekly basis and does not do anything.
Elevated it to a chef's kiss art form.
Almost, yeah. Like we didn't know that this could be a form of anything in wrestling. Hey, how can we make our referees look like complete morons?
Yeah.
And then you have people like Aubrey Edwards who has been accused and can even be justified in the accusations of making herself a part of the story. You know, to where a referee should never
has been directly involved in storylines.
Yeah, a referee should never be a direct part of the storyline. They should just be on the outside. You're there only for a specific reason in kayfabe.
She's the only playable character referee in AEW Fight Forever.
Yeah, but so moving on the card now, we had which I was kind of surprised I didn't have it as a match of the week candidate, but that's because quality of stuff I saw before it was Adam Cole defeating Daniel Garcia to win the TNT Championship on his 17-year anniversary in the city where it all started for him in Philly. It was a great match.
You know, it's all about the boom.
Oh, so what about the Montreal screw job, though? I will take that real quick. The Montreal screw job was not kayfabe; it was real life.
Vince McMahon was in on it.
Yeah, everybody was in on that practically.
Yeah.
So
that's not losing credibility for the ref. That is the ref intentionally following directions.
Now, if we talk about what happened with Brett after the Montreal screw job and him going to WCW, he should have been in a world championship match because he was an uncrowned champion. He lost the title, but he didn't lose it in the way that a wrestler should lose a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this coming up now?
Well, because it was asked as a question of talking.
No, I get that. It's a weird time for it.
Referee incompetence.
Yes. So we're
okay. I see the connection. Fair enough. All right.
But that also didn't have a moment of a replay starting or something because everybody left the ring as soon as it happened. Shawn Michaels selling his lie beautifully.
Hebner left the city. Hebner left the country.
Yeah. Hebner fled.
And within an hour, Hebner was out of the country.
Yeah. So that after Adam Cole defeating Daniel Garcia, we had Kenny Omega retaining against Ricochet and Mike Bailey, and what was a very fun match. I loved the ending of that match. I personally think this match should have been the main event of the show. I think it would.
Eventually, once this pay-per-view is put on Max, this is one of the matches I'm looking forward to watching.
Yeah. And now To the main event for the AEW Championship. Moxley retaining against Swerve. And this is another match where AEW makes their referees look incompetent. Like, you didn't advertise this as a street fight or anything else. And us as fans, we don't care that it's all happening. But when we see consistently that, hey, why is the referee on the floor with them? Why is the referee not in the ring counting to 10? Just to make them roll in and roll back out. To the point that it lasted for so long that Excalibur on commentary had to be like, well, this wasn't supposed to be a no DQ match or a street fight or whatever. But it's the referee's discretion to let all this happen. Like, which means
referee's incompetence.
No, but that also means that somebody in the back is acknowledging the fact that they are getting ripped off about this every week. And referees are very important to pro wrestling in many ways that most fans, and maybe us, even as we would be considered the smart marks, in that category, because we understand it, a much deeper understanding that how are you letting your referees look like that? Like, they don't know the rules. It's as bad as watching a Kansas City Chiefs game and they're within one score with less than 2 minutes to go last season. Josh
Allen isn't given a first down.
Like, it's ridiculous that you make your referees look that bad regularly. And then to top it all off, the two guys who ran when they lost the tag team championships, all of a sudden come back and help Mox retain the title. Because we have the lights go out at the end of the match where Swerve set up the win and lights come back on. They have Swerve set up for a V trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Which we get kind of explained this week slightly that they want to work together. But, so why are we all of a sudden putting all this money and all your eggs into a storyline that obviously the fans, no matter how hard you try, we don't have a problem with Mox as champion. It's the story with him with the championship that's the problem.
Right. It's just, why are they doing that? They've always been saying we have no choice, we have to do that. They never really gave a clear answer beyond, we feel like AEW is going the wrong way. Well, why didn't you just say that at the beginning? Because now you've added all this confusion and nobody knows really what the hell you're trying to do here at this point. Little clarity might be nice.
I mean, I would rather them just not say anything and let that mystery be there. Up like recently with Dark State, they really didn't say much till the past couple weeks. And there was a lot of intrigue behind it because we didn't know.
That was really only like a month of build for them before they took their masks off and said who they were and everything. So now we know who they are. We know why they're there. They're talking. Death Riders are still doing the same crap that they were doing 4 or 5 months ago. So there's been no evolution.
And that's another thing too. Like, it's just the same thing. It's almost like Mox took the Bloodline story
and didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Because if you look at all those matches played just like Roman Reigns matches did for 2 years. He's in a match, you get the outside interference, he somehow retains, which is fine when it's done correctly. And as a heel, you expect a heel to cheat to win, as they should. So everybody's like, "Oh, they're not they're as long as they're champion, they're the champion." We acknowledge that Moxley's the champion. We just acknowledge that this run for him has been the drizzling shits.
Yes, it has. There have been much more entertaining heel runs where the heel has had a death grip on the title by any means necessary. This one is not up there for me. Like, it's just the way that he has this faction built around him and what they've been doing with no explanation, and just like when we do get any sort of an explanation, it just is more confusing than if we had gotten no explanation whatsoever in the first place. So, yeah, I'm kind of at the point with Death Riders where it's like, let's move on or evolve this somehow. Let's make it interesting again, please.
I don't see this lasting much more past All In. I think July is going to be the end of this, and we just need to get somebody because
Still 3 months away.
There's nothing in between.
we have Double or Nothing, but I don't think they'll hot shot the title at Double or Nothing and shot it again 2 months later.
Yeah,
unless the only way I could see this coming full circle is if that mystery person for Adam Page is Bryan Danielson. And you want to build some intrigue, maybe you have Mox again beat Bryan, but in a different, or Bryan comes back, wins the title, gets it off of him, and he's like, I'm not back full time. I only came back to get the belt off of him.
Reasonable.
And then he retires again with the belt and drops the belt as her.
Yeah, and he can retire with the heavyweight championship before Cena does and beat him to it. B+ player, my ass.
That'd be funny.
But then again, I gotta say, I was watching WrestleMania 28 yesterday. Does anybody remember the opening match of WrestleMania 28?
Not off the top of my head.
2012.
That would have been 2012, yeah.
Going
I
one?
have no idea.
Going twice? All right, the opening match was Sheamus defeating Daniel Bryan in less than 30 seconds with the bro kick after he gets the good luck kiss from AJ Lee. Yep.
That was the opener?
That was the opening match. Yep.
Oh my god, I thought that was much later in the card. Okay.
No, because that card also has Cena Rock 1.
That's right. Once in a
It had
lifetime.
Cody Rhodes and the Big Show for the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh.
It had the end of an era Hell in a Cell match. Jericho versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship. Just those are the more notable matches on the card. All right. But yeah.
What women's matches were on that card?
It was Beth Phoenix and who was her partner? They were going against Maria Menounos and Kelly. I just don't remember, and I just watched it yesterday.
Women's wrestling has come such a long way.
Yeah, we're talking about Divas era in wrestling.
Only 13 years ago.
Any of them.
How much things have changed so quickly. So, are we going to get into Dynamite, or do you want to get into...
We can talk a little Dynamite. I actually did manage to just barely finish Dynamite right before the show started.
All right, Dynamite opens up with Mox and Shibata, which was a good opener. For a moment there, it looked like Shibata was going to have him, but, your world champion for a reason, whether we agree with it or not. After the match, we go right into, I don't think AEW took a commercial for the first 40 minutes that show was on. Because we go straight into the Young Bucks coming out and talking about the peace offering to Mox and why he did what he did, which then brings Swerve out saying it's buck hunting season, saying what he has to say, which leads to his match with Pac and the injury that he suffered, which I'm not sure where in the match it happened. I think it happened on the splash.
I think it was when he got canned out of the ring.
It was when he got buckle bombed. It was when he got buckle bombed and he landed on his leg and tweaked the knee.
I thought, and then they did the top rope spot. Okay, yeah.
It was just the way he landed on that leg, just did it. Sometimes it happens.
Kick when he rolled back into the ring, that super kick was just
the drive-by, yeah. Swerve is so good at that move. I think it's called
drive-by.
The drive-by, something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't a super kick. I don't know.
And then a match that took entirely too much time. That, in all honesty, I paid half attention to. If that was the 8-man tag team match for $400,000. With Kevin Knight, Will Ospreay, Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe defeating Crew, the Beast Mortos, and Ricochet. That match ran entirely too... I was behind on Dynamite, so I'm trying to catch up to the show to get up live. And I fast-forwarded a lot of that. Man, I'm like, this is entirely too long for an 8-man tag.
At least it was it wasn't boring. It was exciting. it was like spot after spot.
Yeah, I mean that's fine and all, but when you're doing spot after spot for a 25-minute 8-man tag, like that match went through a couple commercial breaks, I kind of start losing interest. Like,
well,
why
everybody had to get their stuff in.
Yeah, you got 8 guys in there that are all
Dude,
getting moves.
You could have done
other.
that you could have done that in a 15-minute match.
Could have,
yeah, I agree.
But it's AEW, so take a normal match and add 10 minutes.
I mean, that was one of my criticisms of Dynasty as well. Like overall, that grade from that show for me is like a B-. The show ran entirely too long. Like us being close to Philly, I'm sitting there watching the beginning of the show, like, damn, I kind of wish I went. I look at the time; it's going on 12. The main event hasn't started with. Oh, I'm glad I didn't come down.
Yeah.
We get to
without work in the morning.
Yeah. Like, then we had the whole Hurt Syndicate MJF thing. MJF is denied entry. I'm kind of
interested to see where this is going.
So am I.
Yeah.
But
this is the most intriguing storyline that AEW has going on right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because it's just interesting to see how this is going to play. Because what does this lead to? Another member of the Hurt Syndicate to go up against MJF? Bobby Lashley versus MJF? MVP versus MJF?
See, I'm with
Cedric.
Bobby Lashley. You can't trust MJF. MJF's
Cedric
got
is
some
out
kind
there.
of a plan. Yeah, MJF's got an idea of something that he wants
he
the Hurt Syndicate
definitely-
for. Yeah, Lashley's right
Yeah,
not
he
to trust
definitely
him.
has something in mind.
Oh yeah.
And then after that, we have the women's one of the other quarterfinal match I was surprised to see Chris Statlander defeating Thunder Rosa.
That was
I
a
wasn't
pretty
really
good match.
surprised.
I feel like they've been kind of pushing Thunder a little bit recently. And like she's been in some bigger matches on TV recently and stuff. And it felt like
with Tony Storm. With that lovely name.
It's just that, it kind of surprised me. So I didn't feel like Chris Statlander at this point was going to be advancing into the next round. I felt like, hey, Thunder Rosa, whoever they have planned for her, would probably be a pretty good match to get into the finals. Somebody who's a former AEW Women's Champion.
Well, Chris Statlander, she's a former TBS champion, and this is a good way to reestablish her and who she is. A lot of people may have forgotten who she is, and it sounds like you're one of them, DG, actually. So I think this is a good way.
I'm not putting nothing against Chris Statlander. I just feel like that at this point, she's had that spotlight to where Thunder Rosa is finally coming back. I'm not saying
the spotlight too.
I don't personally. I think Mercedes Moné's going to win the entire thing. Unfortunately,
sad but true.
It's looking at the idea of what do we set up going forward. But it is a tournament, so anything can happen. I was just kind of surprised to see Statlander win it. That wasn't who I had in my mind to win it. After that, we get Jericho coming out talking about his loss at Dynasty. We have him bring out Big Bill.
And disappointed.
Oh, he was angry.
He was disappointed. Angry. He was highly disappointed.
There was a lot
disappointed
going on.
enough to break a monitor. And
there's a lot
another
Jaretron
destroyed.
I don't think he was able to process all of it.
Yeah, and he goes off. It seemed like Big Bill spoke his mind about where things had been recently, and leads to Jericho destroying the set. And apparently, Jericho's gone for a while.
Until
I think he's taking time off to go tour with Fozzy. Yeah,
the real life reason, but kayfabe, he's disappointed.
Not at
all. No, not at all.
And then in the main event of the show, we have Hook and Samoa Joe representing the Ops defeat Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. Then after the match,
the Death Riders take a loss.
Yeah. Claudio hitting his finisher on, I think it was Hook, onto the chair. Oh, I did. And
I
from the
credit
people
to the
said,
spot being a precision hit. Like he hit him right in between
yeah,
those uprights, and
from
1 inch to the left or the right, and that is disaster. So
from what I
kudos to
read,
Claudio
I
and Hook
think
for
it
hitting
was
that perfectly.
after that spot. From what I read, Hook actually threw up after the spot.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he did, but like an
But,
inch to the left or right, and it's
after
even
that-
worse.
After that, we get the challenge of them challenging the Death Riders for the Trios Championship, which will happen this Wednesday on Dynamite, with Mox taking the place of Pac using the Freebird rule to keep those Trios Championships there.
I wish the Ops would win this match, but the Death Riders are going to win it again. I'm
You know what?
sadly saying that.
I don't think so. I don't think
You
so.
think
I
the
think
Ops take the Trios belt.
Yeah, because now you're going to stick Mox in a situation where he could have to pull double duty or something like that. And AEW's infamous for injuries.
Yeah, they are.
So let's try to prevent some injuries. So now jumping to Collision, we get at the top of the show the confirmation of Pac's injury on commentary. And then we have FTR come out. Boy, and that was very interesting. They almost took out Shivani for what he said on commentary about them, on how their families how can their kids be proud of what they did. They talk about how they're 10 times champions across 7 major promotions, which is why I think they are the best tag team in the world today, just because wherever they go, they win gold. And that's not taking nothing against, like, say, a team like the Usos or the New Day or something like that, but they've always just primarily been in one place. We haven't seen what they could do now going somewhere else, which I assume they would be tag team champions wherever they go.
Yeah. We throw the Usos in AEW. Yeah, they get the belts.
I just look a lot at FTR a lot like I did Road Warriors / Legion of Doom back in the day. Wherever they went, they won gold. And then the Dudley Boys after that, wherever they went, they won gold. FTR is a part of that, and those names you throw together. Maybe even the Young Bucks, the Hardys. But none of them but none of those other teams have really done it like FTR, the Dudleys, or the Road Warriors have, within their dominance of being tag team wrestlers, because the Hardys were always split at certain points and off doing their own thing, or it was just Matt Hardy on his own,
Edge and Christian have been split up longer than they've been together at this point.
Yeah. Which I think that at some point, somehow, they're still going to get back together. We get one final run, and I hope for one final 5-second pause for photography. And then the end of that FTR segment was interesting. You had Daniel Garcia come out, which leads to later on in the show, 2.0 challenging FTR to a tag team match that continues that story, which we'll get to shortly. Even to the point that with Shivani in the ring, Nigel McGuinness gets up to get in the ring and protects Tony. Like, whatever FTR's doing, I'm kind of interested in that too, because I've always thought they were better as heels than baby faces. And them having this mean streak back will go a long way.
Yeah.
So after all that, we have the next Women's Owen quarterfinal match with Jamie Hayter defeating Billy Starks. And those two women went out and put on a show in that match.
As expected, but we pretty much all expected Jamie Hayter to come out on top there.
There were moments where I could have seen Billy Starks winning that match and her getting that, hey, you might not advance to the finals, but you got this moment. Billy Starks is a former Ring of Honor women's television champion. Like,
she's an up-and-comer.
And she's only 20, and she's this good now. It's how we look at some of these
younger than Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, like she's in that category of a Roxanne, a young Paige Saraya when they got their debut. Oh, we have a question here from a Matthew Rodriguez. Fantasy question. Would AEW Go ahead.
What AEW wrestler would be perfect to replace Steve Austin at Mania 17 and join, as JR said at Mania 17, Satan himself, Vince McMahon? It's just a question.
You know what? Given the time period of that, you know what? I don't think there is anybody in AEW to take that spot because of how over Austin was. Because the Stone Cold character was always meant to be heel. But given the time of DX, well, he's before DX, but like the NWO stuff and everything, it became cool to cheer for the heel. And then you get the infamous moment of the double turn, which the him and Brett, and when he passed out to that sharpshooter, a bloody mess, the respect was there. And at that point, just the match alone, I don't think there's anybody else to really take that spot in AEW and have the, what was it, 3.5, 4 years of storytelling between Austin and Vince completely hating each other. Like, there's
if you were to have one AEW wrestler to take that place, who do you think it would be?
I look at it as the opposite way. Who does Austin turn on? If it's not The Rock. That, because it's the turn that makes that very important. Because it's 4 years of storytelling that led to that moment of Austin doing the most unthinkable thing that nobody would ever see and join Vince McMahon. The man who he made piss himself in the middle of the ring with a Bang 316 sign, whose life he made a living hell, destroyed his Corvette with the cement truck.
Yeah.
That just becomes the idea that, for me, that you would have to have that storytelling. So it's not just who goes into that spot, who replaces Stone Cold Steve Austin for those 4 previous years.
Okay.
And his choice, MJF. See, that somewhere along the way would make sense, just not in the situation of turning, to where if it was going to be something like that, of Vince bringing in an MJF type character who would be behind everything he's doing, and MJF have the owner's support, would be a huge deal, especially to make MJF the corporate champion, which is why I would say more, would it be who would take The Rock's place? MJF, and that would automatically make MJF a babyface.
I'll tell you what, it would be interesting to see if WWE ever signs MJF, how they use him, and if they do something along those lines.
That would be interesting. I think eventually MJF's going to make it to the WWE. He's just
got the tattoo laid off his calf.
But just because also you have to remember that was the second of the 3 matches with Austin Rock. Mm-hmm. The first one was at WrestleMania 15, which I got to saw. That was 17, and then we get Stone Cold's retirement match at 19, which The Rock had finally conquered Austin at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, if I were to pick someone other than MJF, I think, you know what? Maybe you go with someone like Kyle Fletcher. Bring him up in there.
Like I said, it's just really hard because, again, even with The Rock involved in that story, that was 4 years of storytelling between all 3 guys.
Yeah.
It's like you have the corporation, you had the constant crossing paths of Austin and The Rock after that. There's just so much that played and taking 4 years of storytelling into that moment.
Yeah.
That's just my problem with working that out. We'll take
what about Hangman Page?
We got one other question, then we'll get back to this talk.
I was actually thinking about that.
I think Hangman Page would be.
So, guys, I want your 3 takes from each of us. Perfect higher power of the ministry not being Vince. It should have been the higher power.
Should have been Chris Daniels.
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be Christopher Daniels. That was the original plan. You know what? If I'm going to pick a swerve as something that nobody would see coming, make the higher power Linda. How did the Undertaker get access to everything? You already have Shane involved as being a member of the corporate ministry. You already had Stephanie in and out of the storyline being with Vince. Make it Linda.
She's my number 2, but
Linda
Christopher Daniels definitely number 1.
But
if that would have happened, we would have never gotten that 3-way in TNA with him and Samoa Joe and AJ Styles.
Which put TNA on the map.
In 2005, yeah.
I mean, it catapulted them to what would be to what's the word I'm looking for? Trend. There we go. In today's internet terms, they would have been trending after that match.
YouTube was brand new. Social media was not a thing really at that point.
Yeah. And just real quick, I'm going to run down the rest of Collision, and then I guess we can figure out if we're going to do WrestleMania predictions or what little predictions we may have for Stand and Deliver. We had the Gates of Agony defeat 2 local guys. I believe they were called Smash and Burn.
Sure.
We had Anthony Bowens defeat Blake Christian. They had a decent match. We had Megan Bain in a 2-on-1 handicap match defeat 2 local talents known as LMK and Kelly Madden. We had
giving her the old Braun Strowman treatment.
We had Kevin Knight defeat AR Fox. I feel like anytime I see AR Fox's name on a match, I just know he's going to lose, and I could never pick.
He's the enhancement talent.
And then we had from the challenge from 2.0 earlier tonight to FTR defeating them, and we had who was it? The one of them, not the one that knocked up. What's her name? Oh wow, yeah, brain fart. The one that's on commentary. The guy that's on commentary. When Daniel Garcia has a match. He was doing commentary.
Angelo, the one that was Ruby Soho's husband?
No, the other one.
Oh, Daddy Magic?
Yeah, there we go. That guy. Yo, he was a bloody mess after that match. They really messed him up. And it's kind of interesting because Garcia.
Who did he knock up?
Who, Daddy Magic or the
you
other
were
Daddy
saying
Magic
was his
knocked
partner.
up Hand Ange.
Come on, man. Yeah, and then whatever's going on with 2.0 and Garcia, that whole thing ends with FTR win and Garcia getting hit with the spike pile driver, which Edge suffered that exact same fate. Plus 2 concertos, or 3, however many it was. We had another women's quarterfinal match, which obviously I think we all knew Athena was going to defeat Harley Cameron.
Yeah, that was set up easily because you can't have Harley against Mercedes again for a semifinal matchup. That makes no sense.
You also can't have the forever champion lose to somebody who's up and coming. Because Athena has been killing it as the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. Longest reigning Women's Champion in Ring of Honor history now.
You know, she had one match in Ring of Honor before she joined NXT.
And now look at her.
Just an irrelevant fact.
At least you know. And then in the main event Collision, we had Takeshita defeat Brody King. And those guys really put on a match last night. I'll tell you what. That was a fun match to watch. And it really showed
Brody King
power.
Brody King needs to start winning matches.
Seriously.
I don't care if you put him up against local talent. You need to build him.
Yeah. He needs wins. He should be getting them. He's a quality wrestler who's big, just beefy dude who has the look, and yeah,
Big,
needs to get
scary,
some wins
beefy
there.
dude. Yeah, you got to get Brody some wins.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So,
right.
I guess we'll go into stand and deliver here.
Stand and deliver first, or a little.
Well, we have
recap
three.
of the week.
I was going to say,
Is the scribe ready?
we could cover NXT, go into our picks for the 3 matches they have at the moment, because 1 match is still incomplete.
Yep. Let's do the NXT recap and little stand and deliver predictions.
Yeah, so
I didn't catch NXT.
So NXT kicks off this week. That Stephanie says after the opening match, she's going to announce who her opponent will be. Which the opening match was Jordynne Grace versus Jada Parker. That went to a no contest. Thanks to outside stuff and everything. So we still don't have a decision for that. We get on to toward the end of the night. And now that match at Stand and Deliver will be a fatal 4-way match after Julia had returned. And Stephanie Bakir will be defending against Julia, Jada Parker, and Jordynne Grace.
Looking forward to that match. That's going to be a great match between 4 quality women.
Yeah.
4 quality female wrestlers right there.
And we're going to be live for it.
Yes, we will. Well, I'll be at work. Y'all be live.
We will be live for it.
Yeah, and then we had Fraxium take on the up-and-coming tag team, I believe, from Evolve. Swipe Right. Such a stupid name.
Yeah, terrible.
But I get it, it's not my generation. I get it. Which they looked really, Fraxium wins, but they looked good in that match. After that, we have Sol Ruka defeat Jasmine Nix to qualify for the ladder match.
Sol Ruka also got the Speed Championship this week.
Yeah.
No way, really.
Not that
took it off Candice.
Listen, the Speed that's about as relevant as the AEW Championship is because we never see it.
I feel like if you told me, like, hey, Ashante Adonis won the Speed Championship, I'd be like, oh, really? Cool.
And 10 minutes later, you won't remember.
Hey, Braun Strowman won the Speed Championship. Yeah, I knew he was going to eventually.
It's a little thing they can add to her resume and note it when she's introduced on NXT, and that's about it.
She might as well have won the 24/7 championship.
Yeah, right.
No, that title meant something.
Yeah, high standards. Yeah, definitely.
Just real quick, since we're with the ladder match qualifying matches, we also had Izzy Dame defeat Ren Sinclair, which I kind of saw coming.
Yeah,
because the calling had beaten.
Yeah, they're building up Izzy Dame nicely.
The whole calling's being built up, even though Sean Spears dropped the North American Championship just as quick as he won it.
Well, he explained that now allows him to focus on building up his members of the. It's all about them, not about him.
Yeah, we've seen that before. Yeah, and then we get the whole.
Take him at his word for now.
We have Ricky Saints come out, cut a promo. Then we have everybody coming out and interrupting him. Ethan Page, Eddie Thorpe, Lexis King, Wesley. So I think there's potential that a match with the North American Men's Championship could be added to Stand and Deliver because there's only 3 matches for it right now. Which, by the way, if any matches do get announced this week that we don't talk about that haven't been announced yet, we will also give our picks and figure all that out.
We will be watching along on Tuesday night with NXT, so we'll know if anything happens.
Yep.
I will not be. I'll be at work.
DG and I will
You guys are on your own for
Tuesday
that.
night with NXT.
So then, yeah, we have Wesley defeat what's his name, the tag team partner with not Brooks Jensen, the guy that came from New Japan or whatever. Inamuka.
Yeah.
We had Wesley defeat him.
Yep.
But the main event
had a whole little.
The main event of NXT, Dark State defeating Oba Femi, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams, which was pretty much Trick and Oba's fault that they lost that match because they couldn't keep. But what's more interesting, I just want to state real quick, the finisher that they were going to use, that they used on Javon Evans, it looked like kind of like a setup for the Shield powerbomb, but they tossed him up in the air. If they could perfect that move, a toss-up powerbomb like that,
it's crazy.
But then we have Stax appear on the Tron after the match to challenge Dark State to a parking lot brawl. Well, I guess that's a good idea.
That's going to be epic.
I expect everybody to get injured in this match because it's the NXT parking lot. Nothing good ever happens.
Most dangerous parking lot in the world.
Well, I don't know.
That is more dangerous than any parking lot ever.
It is a bad area, but I don't know if it's the most dangerous parking lot. There's a lot of shady parking lots out there.
That there are.
Yeah.
All right, so I see we're almost an hour in here and still plenty to talk about. I think now would be a good time for us to take a quick break. Let us sit here and get our minds right for the back half of the show.
Quick reset.
And be showing a little bit of stuff here. So, guess I said I was going to go with this. We're going to see some ladder match highlights from the last SPO show, Key to the City. So everybody enjoy, and then after that, we'll show what's coming up on the next Spocast tomorrow night. Oh!
Mr. Backstreet, who you at?
Yeah!
He has no partner. What kind of crap is that?
Let's go, Tommy! Let's go!
Do it! He's gonna fly! This is bullshit!
I don't like where we are now,
Get the key! Get the key!
Get the key! Get the key! Oh, man. Oh, shit. Oh! Johnny!
life. If you're miserable, not anymore. You found your answer. Nunchuck Tyler's here. No more misery. We are not suffering anymore because suffering sucks. And we're not gonna suffer because Nunchuck Tyler, he will not make you suffer anymore today. You're gonna be so freaking happy that Nunchuck Tyler is here today. Oh yeah, he's so freaking awesome. It's Nunchuck Tyler trying to make your day better.
Success, Tyler.
And you can see him
Nick Shannon.
and Simon Gotch tomorrow on the Spokecast at Spokecast Official on YouTube or at spowrestling.com.
Right now, I have to go write a Nunchuck Tyler theme song tonight.
Add some music on that. His vocals are perfect. Just gotta, add a music base underneath that.
I already have it in my head.
It's got a very He-Man feel to it, right?
No, I'm trying to figure out the song.
Themes.
I thought it was the Gummy Bears, but it's not. But it's something close to
no.
of the Gummy Bears.
It's more Masters of the Universe.
Bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Why do you have to do X now that is added credence? Like that sounds just like him singing.
Dashing and daring, courageous and caring.
All right. Anyway, just real quick, since we have 2 full confirmed matches, let's get the picks out of the way for those 2 for Stand and Deliver.
All right.
So we will start with the Women's NXT Championship match with Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Jada Parker, and Jordan Grace.
All right. So who do we want to start? How about you, DG? Why don't you give us your prediction for that match?
You know what? When Julia returned this week, it gave me a lot of heel vibes from her. Like, it definitely, because she went after the champ as you should, but the champ's also her friend. I kind of want to go out on a limb here and say that Jada Parker is going to win this match.
Interesting.
Because Stand and Deliver typically has that standout moment, right? And how jacked this women's division is, I just don't see her being able to have a legit run with the championship like the other 3 could. But, I will go with Julia to win the championship back.
Okay. Mark that as official, Julia. All right, what do you got, BJ?
Well, you look at Jordan, and she hasn't put in the work here. She hasn't been here long enough. A lot of other people have been doing a lot of great things for a little bit longer.
You could also say the same about how Vaquer and Julia won their championships. They weren't there all that long neither and got the championships.
The key phrase in that is won their championships. They're already champions.
I'm just pointing that out as compared to say that Jordan Grace didn't put in the work this past year when she was present on NXT for a lot of big moments with these women already. As being a member of
the Rumble.
Roster.
Right. But as far as
I want to pick Jordan Grace. I wanted to pick Jordan Grace to win. But I think that with her having a main roster contract and her choosing to go to NXT to get down the full WWE system of things, I don't see her winning the championship and then taking it as well because they don't really do that anymore. We don't really see those championships jump up. But that was just me personally.
And then there's Jada Parker. The least, I don't want to say credible, but the least
likely.
Experienced, the least likely in this match. I don't see them pulling something like that. I see it coming down to either Stephanie Vaquer or Julia. Stephanie Vaquer being the incumbent champion, Julia having recently come back with a little more edge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Vaquer. She's gonna retain.
That
All right.
that's where I kind of lean to, was which way, because I think Jordan Grace gets called up in the draft.
Is there a draft announced?
Not yet, but we know there will.
Yeah, there will be. It
No,
always
but-
happens.
I wish they
It'll-
would. Personally, I
It's
wish.
a new era. Anything could happen.
Yeah, I really wish they would just do trades between Raw and SmackDown and do the draft as the call up for the NXT roster.
Like other sports.
Exactly.
Some of the LFG guys or Evolve guys and girls, whatever, something like that. They can get called up to NXT. The NXT people can get called up to the main roster.
Yeah. All right. So, Chef, who do you have in this match?
All right. We all know that I am a fan of Jordan Grace. I've been watching her for a couple of years now on TNA, and the strides that she has made there have been incredible. She built up that women's division. She made that women's division as relevant as it is today. And that being said, she did come over to WWE for a reason. That reason was not to win the NXT championship. Much as I think she is going to be a big part of this match, I don't think that she takes the belt out of it. But I think she is there to give a good showing to whoever does eventually take this belt out of there. I don't see that being Jada Parker, because she doesn't seem like, not that she's not good at what she does, but she doesn't seem to me to be ready to hold anything above the North American title. She can compete above the North American title. We've seen that. She's not ready to hold the title above that yet, though, which does also bring it down to Julia Vaquer. So I am going to be the tiebreaker here between you two guys. And I cannot pick against my girl, Stephanie. She is amazing. Her talent is incredible. She's got the size on Julia, too. They are friends. Julia did come back and attack her after helping her out of being attacked. But, I think that Stephanie is not going to just hand that belt right back to Julia after she took it off of her. I mean, so, yeah, I am marking down for myself with Stephanie Vaquer.
All right. Now,
Marking being the key word.
always the key word here, huh?
What can I say?
So, just real quick, and it's not to say that none of these other two women can win this match, because Jordan Grace, like, if she were to choose to stay till SummerSlam, right? And then maybe get called up at that. I'd love to see a run with her with that women's championship in NXT. Don't get it wrong.
Absolutely. She could hold that belt for as long as she wanted there.
Yeah. Jada Parker, I think the same way as well. I'm not going to say that she's not ready for that moment, because now they've put her there. They have put her in this main event situation for a reason, because she's getting the reactions. She is good in the ring, and with her style of how physical her style is, very Street Fighter like, very MMA like of her style, makes her a credible opponent to all three of those women, because she has a knockout punch. Essentially, she could probably knock any of them out at any time, maybe besides Jordan Grace. Because, Jordan Grace out of all of them, the one you don't want to see in a dark alley.
Or do you?
No.
No, I'd rather see her in a well-lit alley.
Yeah, see? But no, like, if it was me personally with the pencil, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, maybe I would put that title on Jada Parker. So you allow a Julia and Stephanie Vaquer feud to go up to the top, for the get back to the championship. You throw Jordan Grace within that, in that chase, and you have all three of them chasing. It would be interesting.
Yeah. You needed an upgrade in 2K. That's fair.
All right, and then the other fully confirmed match we have for the men's NXT Championship, and the first triple threat we will see WrestleMania weekend. It will be Obafemi defending against Javon Evans and Trick Williams.
All right.
The Pokemon Evolution match.
BJ, who do you got in this one? They have a
This is
Pokemon
tough.
conclusion match, as you called it.
You look at Trick, and he's got all the tools. He can win this match. He's going to get called up soon. He's not going to win this match. So it's between Javon and Oba, and
What are you doing?
not only has Oba, they've probably been there a little, right around the same time, length of time. They've probably been there, but Oba has shown more. He's been more dominant. He's won the big one. I think Oba.
Well, for him at the moment. Oba Femi, I think, has a complete future.
He has a Oba.
You know what? I think Trick Williams is on his way to the main roster, so I don't see him.
Right.
We're all in agreement on that.
It's just a matter of when it happens.
The draft.
Yeah, whenever that is.
Yeah. Absolutely high standards.
You know what? It's like, look, Oba Femi is kind of like picking against Brock Lesnar, right? Because it's going to take somebody really special to defeat him. And the whole thing, the only way I see Javon Evans even winning this match is if Trick Williams deals a knockout shot to Oba Femi and Javon Evans catches Trick off guard. Like, he's going to have to be, because even just looking at if it was Trick Williams versus Oba Femi, like, we're talking about two big guys going at it for this championship, and now you add the complete opposite of them into this match. Of everybody's boy who is bouncy.
Yes.
Shit. You know what? I have to go with Oba retaining too. I don't think Javon Evans is quite ready for that moment yet, even though it would be a great moment for him.
Yeah, we're making it a clean sweep for all the same reasons. So all three of us going for Oba Femi, retaining that NXT men's title.
Which now
I got most of it in the glass.
Well, that's
does that count as your spill?
No.
Okay, just a dribble.
Yeah, I have like a drop on my hand.
So, let's see. We had Raw kickoff this week now with the announcement and the official contract signing that at WrestleMania, it will be a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship, as Io Sky will be defending against both the not Royal Rumble winner, Bianca Belair, who earned it by winning the Chamber, and Rhea Ripley.
Yep, the second to last match of Sunday night. A start of the night was quite entertaining. Of course, Io getting shoved aside again, as it has been the way this story has been going on. There's a lot of triple threats.
There's a lot of multi-people matches.
Yeah. You want to get everybody, as many people as you can on the card at once. Hey, that if you're going to care about one, that's the one to care about. not disputing that.
And you
at
know
all,
what?
but...
Yeah, of all of the triple threats around, like, this one makes a lot of sense. Like, they've built it up very well. Like,
yeah, even though I disagree with how they built it with Rhea, even though she has a legit gripe, because
she brute forced her way in.
Bianca, how much she stands up to Rhea does look like she is scared of going into a match with Rhea Ripley. Like, she is the reason why Rhea lost the title. She's also the reason why Rhea didn't win it back. Because she made that match. And it's also her fault that now it's a triple threat because she didn't allow there to be a winner to that one-on-one match.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So it all makes
but Io Sky is going to force them to respect her one way or another. As we saw, she jumped off of the ropes and just
Yeah.
perfectly into Rhea, knocking her into Bianca with that domino effect there. That was fun. So.
Yeah, so while we are here, should we give our prediction for the women's championship?
No, I say we save our prediction, Mac.
Let's save it for the end.
Let's run down our predictions all at once.
I was just thinking about saving time. That's all, because we're already over an hour into the show.
We're good.
That's all right. No, we run through the events. Yeah.
So
Predictions at the end.
Let's get through the events, and then we'll get to our predictions.
Then we have
Did the stenographer get our predictions for Stand and Deliver?
All written down right there.
So then we have a women's Intercontinental Championship match with Lyra Valkyria retaining against Bayley. Which I'd like to take this real quick and hotshot into SmackDown this past week with the women's tag team gauntlet match.
Bayley and Lyra from enemies to tag team partners in 4 days. And they were quite successful as tag team partners.
So I'm going to run down this match of how it played out. We have Bayley and Lyra started off the match against PFC and defeat them. And then we have Natty and Maxine out, who they defeat. And then they defeat your favorite, BJ, the Party Girls.
They're not my favorites. I just like them.
They're bland.
His favorite's Lyra.
They like to party. They're fun.
Yeah, they're so fun that they like to lose. How about instead of partying, they work on their wrestling game?
Hey, a lot of other female tag teams out there now, winning.
And then Bayley and Lyra get through them. Then they get through which Meechin and B-Fab. You know,
love that team too.
It's an interesting pairing. I mean, it kind of came together out of nowhere. So,
yeah, and then to win the gauntlet, we have Bayley and Lyra defeat the Secret Harvest.
Not really surprised about that, although I am a little surprised by it.
Yeah, like
giving you Michael Scott there.
I'm surprised Chelsea Green's nowhere's on the WrestleMania card. That's what I'm surprised about.
She'll make an appearance. She'll be around.
I mean, it's just crazy that they've been building up these women's mid-card championships, and the best you can give us is one of them in a match for the women's tag team championship.
Well, I mean, we haven't had. I feel like there's still maybe 1 or 2 matches for WrestleMania that could be announced that we don't have announced yet because.
And if that's the case, we will give our predictions in short YouTube video form.
Yeah, anything that changes, we will update our picks per social media here on the YouTube page, whether it's a post, a short of one of us running down all the picks. However it plays out, you will be updated, or we'll talk about it during the live watch-along streams this week.
Yep.
Because it's
plenty of time for us.
It won't be on.
We'll have plenty of talking at you this week.
So, and then also we get the announcement after that Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest will be a Sin City street fight.
Try saying that 5 times fast.
Sin City street fight, yeah.
Shin Splitty. Shin Splitty sheet lights.
So we were fully expecting McIntyre and Priest working their way towards a WrestleMania match here, and here we are.
I loved the promo by Mac. I loved everything said this week, that this match was a year in the making since Damian Priest cashed in on him. You know, again, that was Drew's fault. He was more worried about Punk than celebrating his championship win. You know.
Outside of the bloodline, is there a better long-term storyteller in WWE than Drew McIntyre right now?
Honestly, you know what? I'll say Chelsea Green. I'll put
Okay.
Chelsea Green up there. I think she's one of the best that does it without insulting her opponents fully personally, taking those personal shots, you know.
That's because that's just her personality. That's who she
No,
is.
but
That's what she.
but it's something to where she gets the reaction
Mhm.
and the way she puts everything together, that she doesn't take a personal shot about something that can't be changed.
Right.
You know, we're not like something, 0-3.
CM Punk is still telling a long-term story from 15 years ago, and he gets over every time.
Fair.
CM Punk is the best long-term storyteller in WWE.
I mean, if I say as well, I would also say Cody Rhodes. I would say Seth Rollins.
No, his story's over.
Not from the way it looks, because if we're tying all three of these men together in this triple threat,
He's still talking about Cody. Cody's story's finished.
Cody, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, his story.
I'm just saying, we're going to talk about long-term storytelling. All three of these men are in that conversation, especially for their match, because CM Punk is technically the one that brought them in. Neither one of them have ever beaten Punk one-on-one without the other's help.
This match has history that dates back to what, 2013?
No, 20.
The debut of the Shield when Punk brought him in.
Yeah, but we'll be getting to that shortly.
Yeah, let's continue on Raw.
Yeah,
I derailed us off of the McIntyre.
Then I was just on the SmackDown page of my notes and just kept running that down. So, then we have American Made and El Grande Americano defeat
greatest
the
luchador ever.
Which after this, a little bit later in the show after this match, we get a match for WrestleMania. El Grande Americano versus Ray Jr.
And I do believe Chad Gable will be at ringside in the corner of El Grande Americano.
Chad Gable will definitely be in attendance.
Oh yeah, what are you talking about? He's going to be in the match under the mask. I'm telling you, I really, you know what I really need? I need El Grande Americano versus El Generico. And somehow not Kevin Owens, but Kevin Steen as the special guest referee.
Well, I mean, he just had rotator cuff surgery,
Ezekiel.
so
interference from Ezekiel.
And then Max Dupree.
Oh, hold on. Did you see the meme out there this week that had Ezekiel and everything? And then
Max Dupree.
Yeah. And then it showed LA Knight as the fourth one. And I'm like, oh my God, a shaved Elijah looks just like LA Knight.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it
was really random AF. Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with it being random. It's just there's nothing to the pairing. There's nothing for me.
There might be one thing to the pairing.
That's a different story altogether. But here's a moment from Raw this week we should probably give a little bit of time to. Gunther and that Jay promo that everybody's been knocking Jay because
I'm afraid of you no more.
He comes out every week doing the whole yeet thing and everything, which is fine. I'm behind it. Anything that gets the crowd involved and makes the shows fun, because a hype crowd just makes a show better or a match better.
Yes.
Ask Hulk Hogan and Dwayne Johnson with their WrestleMania match how much the crowd helps make a match.
I'd rather
You're welcome.
not have to talk to Hulk Hogan.
Well, no, I was taking it to crowd energy, not about Hulk Hogan himself, but that is an example of a crowd making the match rather than the match making the crowd,
You're welcome.
We have Gunther come out, and before he can get a word out his mouth, here comes Jey Uso through the crowd, but not doing the whole yeet thing. He's as serious can get.
Coming out through the crowd like Moxley.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Less swagger.
Oh yeah. This was all business. Jey Uso. This wasn't. he's all about
Business
the whole.
moves.
And, he starts talking about Jimmy being laid up with 15 stitches in a hospital bed, him having to tell his parents or his mom and everything about what happened and how he couldn't do nothing to protect his brother. And then him talking about, in that moment, a light bulb goes off. I'm not afraid of you no more. You just gave me the reason to be pissed off.
You have no power over me.
And I'm going to be honest. How much this whole build-up the past couple weeks has started giving me Rocky vibes. Is this Rocky IV in the WWE?
I would break you.
Could be.
Yeah. And he tells Gunther, you better hug and kiss your family, because come WrestleMania, he's going to have to pray to God for forgiveness for what he's going to do. I really loved that promo from Jay. That now... This is the Jey Uso we've been waiting for, right? Not just to over Jey Uso. This is just to the point that, what was it? Last year at WrestleMania, when they had that Sammy going to the ring and you had KO there in the back to amp him up before the match. Imagine if there's a moment with Roman where Roman's the one waiting outside Gorilla and you just have that stare down moment and he tells go do it.
Roman doesn't say a word. He just goes.
And, that would be perfect for Roman. Because realistically, something that can come out this WrestleMania is not Roman being a world champion, because we know that's obviously not happening, but Jey Uso being a world champion. What does that say about the power dynamic within the entire bloodline then?
Is Jey now at the head of the table?
That would be something I wouldn't mind revisiting a little bit down the road. Let him build his run up some if he does win, and then take it from there. But yeah, after that promo this week, it really made me look forward to this match much more than I already was.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a good match coming up there. So looking forward to it. Gunther, hey, didn't he make an appearance this week at a hockey game?
Yes, a Devil's game, as a matter of fact. Go up and real quick for these guys. I like this graphic, by the way. That's actually...
it shows off both guys' personalities very well. Yeah, gets the point across that, hey, here we go.
And then after that, we got the confirmation of Americano Ray Jr. at WrestleMania. And then we get the New Day defeating the War Raiders by disqualification. So not winning the tag team championships. But now, because of that, we get the New Day versus the War Raiders.
Yep. So needed something for New Day to do this weekend, and here it is. Tag team championship shot. Chua versus Walter.
But yeah. And then what I
thought, with one awkward yeet.
And something I thought that was an interesting match from Raw this week was Penta and Dom. With Penta defeating him. Yeah. I thought that was a good match. Because that match was a highlight that might live in infamy for the next decade, and that is the Braun Breaker spear to Carlito. The leap into the spear had to be at least 4 or 5 feet. That's like Jordan jumping from the foul line.
That was somebody's soul getting pushed out of their body right there.
Oh my God. Braun, I'm sorry. How much I would say I would love to take a move from this person or that person.
No.
I never in my life want to take a spear from Braun Breaker.
No.
I would rather get my arm broken by Brock Lesnar in the Kimura lock than
I'd rather get speared by a literal spear.
Which, with all this going on in that match. Oh, there it goes. It's being stupid. Oh, there we go. We got the fatal 4-way, which honestly, part of me could see somehow Dom walking out with this championship.
Which that would cause some tension between him and Finn. That would be fun.
I think the New Day freaking goes up in a
New Day?
blaze of glory at not New Day, Judgment Day. It'll be a new Judgment Day. Yes, it will. Well, that would be interesting.
Well, it's already none of the original Judgment Day members anymore. It was originally Edge, Priest, and Rhea. It was originally Edge, Priest, and Rhea. Those three are all gone.
Well, and then they brought Dom in. When they did that,
Finn was the first one that they brought in. As soon as they brought Finn in, they kicked Edge out.
Finn kicked out Edge.
Yes, and then Dom got brought in after. So the first three original members all gone.
And did Edge had a lot to cope with, I guess.
Yeah, still does.
And then to the closing of Raw, the Paul Heyman promo.
Ooh, yes.
He comes out to set that record straight about that, and that he is loyal both to the Tribal Chief and CM Punk, which we already knew, but that sometimes you need it to be heard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then brings out Seth Rollins.
He didn't bring out Seth. Seth just appears.
Well, yeah, I said which brings out Seth Rollins. I didn't say he called him out. And then that gets really interesting.
I'll put you out myself, Paul.
The rundown of the history with everything that's happened. And Rollins making some really good points, like where was CM Punk when you needed him? Where was Roman Reigns when you needed him most? Neither one of them were to be found. You asked Punk to take you with him. He left.
Instead, he let you get powerbombed through a table.
Yeah, the following week. Where was Roman when you got powerbombed through the table? Sitting at home. Mm-hmm. Licking his wounds still from WrestleMania.
Yep.
And everything being brought up just really sets the stage. And then you have him having Heyman backed into a corner after he kept going at Heyman. And Heyman, I love that.
Color.
I love that Heyman just got in Rollins' face. Like, yo, you're going to stop pushing me.
Keep your damn hands off me.
Yeah. Which brings Punk out. We get them fighting. And then the tease of the curve stop to Heyman. And then Rollins saying, now you owe me a favor.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think Heyman intends to grant Rollins his actual favor? Or that just going to be like, no, I don't owe you anything?
Well, I mean, as I have speculated, and I have always, and I stand by this, Paul Heyman is not a manager of baby faces. He is very specifically a manager of heels. We've seen him with the baby face in the past, but usually they're doing heel things still, whether the fans are cheering for him or not. Whether it was CM Punk back in the day or Roman Reigns now, or Brock Lesnar, who was never really a babyface till recently. He had like an okay babyface run without Heyman in the mid 2000s after that awful match with Goldberg.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah, that was just bad.
That was when they were both leaving, right?
Yeah. And they had to put Austin in as the referee, and the fans still rejected it. That's how much the fans were against. We love Austin, but screw these guys. We know they're both leaving. We know this leads to nothing.
Don't go to the light, BJ.
Please go to the light. Go.
Carol Ann.
Oh, man. So, and that was...
They got for clowns, right?
Yeah. So we've already covered some of SmackDown here, so we can finish that up. We were talking about Damian Priest before. We had Rey Fenix defeating Berto from Andrade's group. And then
El Legado de Fantasma.
We had him take Rey Fenix's hand after the match.
Yeah.
Could we see something to where
Escobar's definitely trying to
Phoenix
recruit
maybe
Phoenix.
joins them?
Yeah, Escobar's trying to recruit him, but Rey Fenix, he's not a heel faction guy. He's not joining him. That it'll set up a nice feud between the two, though. I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, what if this leans more into the path of they turn on Santos, and we get
Santos isn't a face. Santos ain't a face. I like it better. They seem to be like Barto's having a crisis of conscience right now, which I think he'll get over, and he'll go back with his family and Legato. He'll be fine. He had his little discussion with Andrade, who he seemed to listen to, but ultimately he's going to reject him and go back to his family, Angel, and his leader Santos. And I think, perfect pairing that if you don't have Rey Fenix with his brother Penta, you got Andrade right there. Pair those two up. That's beautiful. You see those two guys. I could see those two working together very nicely. And then eventually you bring Penta over and you've got a nice 3-man stable right there. So I think that could work out.
I just don't see where that storyline with those 3 guys goes much further without them having something to run up against. Like, they're not in tag team championship contention anymore. Like, I think this whole pairing has gone its course, and I would keep the tag team as the heels, let them turn on Santos, and then, hey, we've seen people flip back and forth from face to heel when it matters. I mean, that was the Big Show's career.
Yeah, but I feel Santos work. His
Santos can work. If you put Santos with the right person, he'll work as a face because the fans will accept it. Where I don't think the fans accept the tag team as baby faces. See, they tried pairing the Street Profits with Lashley, and instead of Lashley turning them heel, they turned Lashley babyface.
Well, Lashley was already at best a loved heel. So him getting brought back to the babyface side wasn't a big stretch.
No. It wasn't a big stretch, but it was what they wanted to give the edge.
Yeah, they wanted to accomplish the other direction, but it failed, and they went with what they had.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, the idea was for the Profits, because they even started showing those heel tendencies.
Yeah, but the people loved that combination of Lashley and the Profits too much. It was too good of a match together, and the people made it known that, hey, we really like this, and we're just going to cheer no matter what they do. Sometimes that happens.
I mean, I think that's also the age of wrestling we live in now, is because everybody has merch. Because back in the day, back in the 80s and the early 90s, heels never really had merch. Right. Only the baby faces got merch. But then you get into the mid to late 90s, the 2000s going forward, we start seeing everybody with merch.
Right, the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
because you had all the tweeners, the anti-heroes and whatnot, and everyone gets merch now.
Yeah, so fans are going to like who they like, and that's good.
Yes.
And we see that the fans know how to respond when it matters most. And like I said, WWE kind of gave me what I wanted, right? I said this year I wanted a match that would tear the fandom apart, and I never thought it was going to be Cena and Rhodes. I thought Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes would be that match, but instead they upped it even more. Rollins, Punk, and Reigns. Like that match is going to just rip the crowd apart because we see it already. That no matter what these 3 guys do to each other, that
we'll see how together we are with these picks when we get there.
Yeah. So then after that match, we had infamous Chelsea Green lost by countout due to her not hearing
forgetting to get back in the ring.
Now, this is an area to step back real quick to making your referees look like referees and that they know what they're doing. Instead of the referee stopping the count all Selena Vega also had to do was roll back out of the ring and restart the count, but that wasn't a part of what was supposed to happen. Chelsea Green went to go do pose for the fans or whatever, and she didn't hear the count, and she got counted out. And they have leaned into it.
It works for the characters.
Yeah, and it's also live TV, and this isn't something being held against anybody. Like, hey, these type of things happen. But hey, I think maybe somehow I was kind of hoping with that, maybe we get Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green maybe somehow added to that card.
since Chelsea doesn't have a match yet, this would make perfect sense as a way to get them onto WrestleMania.
But I could also see them having the women's U.S. title match on SmackDown next week.
Yes.
Which I'm okay with.
WrestleMania weekend match. It's not a WrestleMania match, but it's a WrestleMania weekend match.
Just like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal now is on SmackDown for the last couple of years and will be again this week, which we will get the call.
Yep.
We had the Cody Rhodes promo after that match, which it was really cool, him kind of getting in the ring and us seeing all those different versions of the WWE Championship over the years. Mm-hmm. And all the name mentions, like he name dropped Eddie.
Yep.
Which, well, he said Latino Heat, and the crowd started chanting it.
When you say Latino Heat, that's as good as name dropping Eddie. So even though Dom may have a shirt that says it, it's still Eddie's line.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it was an absolutely great promo for not having Cena there and to give us a little bit of history of those championships and the fact of why that championship shouldn't leave with Cena.
Right. Yeah, the championship is the company. It's not any one person. It's not any one champion. It's about who's next.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? The kickoff of the show between Nick Aldis and Randy Orton.
Yes. This, we can talk about this and lead directly into our predictions.
So we have Aldis come out, you know, talking about memorable moments from last week, which brings out Randy Orton. You know, and I love that they acknowledge on TV the fine from 2023 with his return into RKO.
Yeah,
like,
the internet was going crazy with that all week, and they brought it into the show, and thank you very much, Hunter.
You know, it's one of those things to where it was like, we know we're going to have you RKO him again later, and we don't want to go through another fine. So this is what we're doing. Oh, but the line about Mickey James, you know, trying to get... Which we were kind of talking about this before the show, a Nick Aldis Randy Orton match. I would love it. I'm all for it. I would, if not WrestleMania, I would say you save it for one of those overseas pay-per-views and do it someplace for him. Yes.
Yeah. We need to see Aldis in the ring, no matter who it's with.
Look, personally, I want Nick Aldis versus Adam Pearce.
Yes. That's the match we all want.
To my knowledge, like all this
Survivor Series teams.
He just doesn't want.
He never.
He's. I know when he signed with WWE, he had an interview and said that he was more interested now in being a backstage stuff and transitioning his career to the next level, to the next thing, instead of destroying his body in the ring. Which, in all honesty, look how many wrestlers stay wrestling for too long, and then look at them now. You know, even somebody like Nick Aldis.
I get that, but at the same time, like right now, he's got. I feel like he has so much in him to give in the ring, and like anyone can do his role that he's doing as GM.
I like him in his GM role, though. And maybe at some point it does bring him out for a match, and it could be at WrestleMania against Randy Orton. Like, we definitely get hints of that, but then during that as well, we get Solo Tonga coming out, interrupting him.
Solo has nothing to do with WrestleMania.
No.
Aldis, Orton, Solo.
You know where you're going now? In the penalty box.
All right, if you take all this out of that match, I could get behind an Orton versus Solo WrestleMania matchup being made this week.
All right,
I don't see.
How do you feel about that? Taking Nick Aldis out of the match? Oh no! You don't get that spot right now. You gotta answer the question.
No, the last thing I would want to see is that triple threat, but I'm all for Solo Orton or Aldis Orton or Solo Aldis.
No, I wouldn't put Aldis.
Solo Aldis, just him in the ring by himself.
Yes. Hey, no, he's going to wrestle.
Microphone.
Look, you haven't seen the Invisible Man on the Indies where the ref has to wear the glasses just to see him?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's one of the best matches of 2025 already. But yeah,
So yeah,
So
Solo and
through all-
Tama come down and confront Randy. Solo's just laughing because
Yeah.
Randy doesn't have a match
oh,
anymore.
when Randy was talking to him and he starts doing Tama's laugh. Mr.
Yeah.
Oh, freaking great. But yeah, and then that
Yeah.
brings out LA Knight after Orton tells them to step in the ring
Uh-huh.
and he'll kick both their asses himself. We get a tag team match set up for later in the show. But before we go any further, let's speculate here because Randy Orton was supposed to have a match. During
He
this
was.
promo, he said he will be at WrestleMania with his
And he
gear
wants
on.
all this to do his job.
Yeah, and have an opponent. Does Randy Orton have a match at WrestleMania?
I say yes. And I say he has it against Solo Sikoa. That is my call.
Yeah, it seems like that would make sense with where things went this week. But if not, there's a couple people I feel like on the roster, if it was to be something random, almost like how, Seth Rollins had a match at WrestleMania 4 years ago.
With
Worst
the open
kept
challenge.
Yeah, the worst kept secret in wrestling, right?
That was going to be Cody.
Yeah. There's a couple things I could see it playing out. I wouldn't mind it being Aldis, like we talked about. I think that would be really fun and an amazing moment in front of that Vegas crowd and for all of us watching. So Randy and Solo, it would make me question then, because I would have saw Randy beating KO. In this case, does Solo beat Randy? Because Solo needs to win more than Randy does.
Yeah, true.
Solo has Tama out there with him. There's a good chance that he does.
And my third choice would be Uncle Howdy. Imagine the lights go out in Allegiant Stadium and then that theme starts to play, or they just come back on. Because automatically what the fans are going to do. They're going to bring up their cell phones. They're going to turn on their flashlights. And then those lights are going to come back on. And what if we have Uncle Howdy standing in the ring, say, with Alexa Bliss and the rest of the Wyatt Six? Because there would be history there for them to go after him, considering he is the one who put down the Fiend with Alexa.
We haven't seen Alexa involved with them in any way.
So even taking Alexa Bliss out, I'm just trying to figure out, because it was originally slated that she was going to have something to do with that, as something to work up. And we haven't really heard nothing because of the Bo Dallas injury that he had. So they've just kept him off TV. So what if he is ready to go? And they do a lights out situation. The lights come back on and the entire Wyatt Six standing in the ring in front of
My problem with that is where do you go from there? It's one guy against a faction.
So then there is no match, and they take him out. And at WrestleMania, we get something that's going to spawn the storyline going forward. Or that it's just Uncle Howdy standing in the ring, hey, I owe you one. I owe you a receipt for what you did to the Fiend the last time he competed at WrestleMania.
Well, not just the last time.
No, the last time the Fiend competed at WrestleMania.
Oh, the Fiend, okay.
Because
I'm thinking all maggots on the canvas match.
Maggots on the canvas match. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's what it was called, right?
But no, it's just the idea of something nobody would see coming. And especially when those lights go out. Everybody might get the hint at that point. But if Randy Orton just comes out and is like, I challenge anybody.
Yeah, no, I could see him going that route, and I wouldn't be mad at it. But then, you know what I mean? There's no story there.
Now, I also
going forward.
The story it wouldn't be the first time that WrestleMania was the jump-off point for something to kick us in to what would be the next.
It also has to be wrapping up, but it's also got to wrap up another story while it kicks in that new story. There's nothing for it to wrap up.
Every WrestleMania match has ever done that. there are WrestleMania feuds that continue well past WrestleMania for the next.
Well,
Oh yeah,
continue
definitely.
but
But
they
that
started
one is
before.
like not even started.
Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins literally started at WrestleMania. And that was an entire feud that went through the entire year.
And it's still going, sort of.
Yeah. And that was a come around moment to where Seth said, "Hey, I'm going to be your Shield." And if it wasn't for Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes would not be the WWE champion right now.
Yeah.
So then what? Going forward, what does Randy Orton start a faction to like help him fight the Six?
Yeah.
Or do they just haunt him and like mess with him all the time?
Randy Orton would be Randy Orton, and he would slowly take them all out to get his shot back at Uncle Howdy. But like I said, the other option would be debuting Aleister Black 6 days early.
I would be fine with that.
No, he'll definitely be on SmackDown.
No, I'm not saying he definitely won't be on Smack. I don't remember. Oh no, we did see did we see a promo for that?
We haven't seen one on Raw. We
not on Raw.
We saw a promo on SmackDown for it. Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's
with the 426.
Yes,
or 425 or whatever.
Okay,
it was.
Yeah. I'm just making sure because if they didn't show one this week, that might lead a little bit of credence to a change of plans. You know, but who would be somebody
if they're dropping vignettes for like 6 weeks ahead, they're not changing the plan. Like they have something set in stone.
I mean, you could still say that even if he shows back up at WrestleMania as a mystery opponent, you could still say that is his SmackDown return. That's all.
I don't see it happening.
Neither do I.
The vignette doesn't say SmackDown return; it just has a date.
Yeah. No. But I'm saying as they would be looking at, you know, like, hey, we're switching gears, but this is still his return to SmackDown
on the 25th.
On the 26th. No, 20.
It's the 25th. It's the 25th.
25th.
It's my sister's birthday. I know.
But no, who else would be a credible opponent to throw out there for him? Do we bring a legend back maybe to have a match? Or
kill another legend? Someone that's a Hall of Fame inductee this year?
Let's just throw this out there real quick. What if Kevin Owens really isn't injured?
Oh no, we saw the surgery. We saw the surgery pictures.
Oh, I have not seen them. I've only seen clips of interviews.
I saw surgery pictures.
And his interview with the day after SmackDown last week when he was on with forget who it was, but that interview, like, he's definitely
yeah. There was post-surgery pictures.
All right, can you confirm they're his? Can you confirm they are his? Post.
I cannot confirm any sort of a timestamp or a location cached on it or anything like that. No. It could have been completely Photoshopped BS AI stuff, but I'm going to believe it was actually Kevin Owens post-surgery.
Karrion Kross would be a good shout to go up against Orton.
I think
he's already got something going.
Yeah, and it looks I know. It looks like he's going to have something to do with AJ Styles at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll probably interfere with the match. Yeah, with what, Logan Paul? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's trying to get through to AJ in his own Karrion Kross inimitable style.
I mean, I don't understand how
Karrion Kross does everything he sets out to do.
And I love the devil on your shoulder gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
All right. So I have said I think Randy faces Solo. So who do you guys think? Or nobody?
I agree that if he's going to have a match, it's going to be with Solo.
So do you think he does have
that would make sense?
So all three of us, yes, he's having a match with Solo?
That's what it's looking like.
All right. So that's what I'm marking us down as. We'll see on Friday night if we're all right. Okay, so with that, let's get into our WrestleMania
Hold on,
predictions
we still have a
overall.
little bit more. We had announced for this week Andre the Giant Battle Royal coming up, and Motor City Machine Guns versus the Street Profits for the Tag Team Championships. We had Tiffany Stratton defeat Roxanne Perez, and after the match is attacked by Charlotte, which I haven't seen the video yet of whatever happened before
The
SmackDown.
reason
lot,
Charlotte
yeah, it
got
was
sent
pretty
home
brutal.
earlier.
Yeah.
Charlotte got
Who
sent
ends
home
up
earlier in the day. She attacked Tiffany in the parking lot. Charlotte got sent home, and then after the match, she comes in, she attacks Tiffany, and blah blah blah, and we're off to the races for next week and into WrestleMania for Charlotte versus Tiffany. So instead of having them talk at each other, favorite GM ever. Ugh.
Oh, Teddy Long. Teddy Long.
Playa. Teddy
Kinda
Long,
hard to
playa.
not
Teddy
Teddy
Long
Long, honestly.
or
Foley.
Oh.
Foley was a
You
good
know,
one.
I enjoyed Baron Corbin as a GM when he did it.
I don't even remember that.
I enjoyed it because he played the role very well. Like, I don't understand how they dropped the ball like they did with him in WWE. With all the character changes, I blame it on constantly for no reason. But I thought...
Yeah, I'm going to allow recency bias to get in a hold of me, and I'm going with Adam Pearce. I love the way he's portraying this Raw GM. Every time, like he just has to take control of the situation. He does it just in the most frustrated way possible that he can, and then he needs a drink. I feel you, Pearce. I feel you.
I also like Nick Aldis as GM. If I'm going,
I like Aldis too, but
he's been good.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hold on. You know what? I also have one other person I hold up with Teddy Long, and it's 1-1A William Regal.
Oh,
on NXT?
NXT, and when he was doing Raw.
Okay.
As the Raw general manager. Eric Bischoff was good in the role as well. He gets the credit for the invention of the Elimination Chamber, so I can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
But, and then, real quick, the main event of SmackDown this week saw Randy Orton and LA Knight defeat Solo and Tama Tonga. After the match, Jacob Fatu appears and completely decimates LA Knight, which I think is a good place for us to start to transition into our picks for WrestleMania.
All right. Well, that is a night one WrestleMania match, but let's start right off at the top of the card and just run it down to the main event here, just so we get everything in order and we don't miss a thing.
So where are we starting? That's like the graphic.
We are starting off with the match of the Luchadors. We've got Rey Mysterio Jr. versus El Grande Americano. So we are. Let's start with BJ, since you're on the screen right now. Who do you got in this match, BJ?
I don't know how Mysterio could possibly lose at WrestleMania. At the same time, I do have a feeling that Chad Gable will be involved in this match somehow, since he's so closely tied to this storyline. And with his interference, I think that El Grande Americano could pull it off.
Okay, so you are going with El Grande Americano due to interference from Chad Gable.
He's like, what did I say to make him leave? Obviously,
what did I do?
Obviously, Chad Gable's going to be involved in the match. What I'm waiting for is that, because we all know it's Chad Gable who it is. I'm waiting for there to be somebody else under the ring in another mask, and they do like the switch,
the switcheroo.
Yeah,
the old Eric Angle,
the old Hebner brothers angle with the two tag.
Demolition's done it.
The old face
Demolition did it before.
You know what? I'm going to go with El Grande Americano on this.
All right.
I don't think Ray doesn't need the win at all.
Agreed. I agree. Ray doesn't need the win. El Grande Americano is the greatest luchador ever, and I'm going to make it a clean
El
sweep.
Grande Americano brings back the Cruiserweight Championship.
Oh,
I'd be fine with that.
So would I. All right, what do we got next?
Next up, we have a storm coming through when Jade Cargill looks for revenge on Naomi. So let's start with you this time, Danger Ginger. Who do you have in this battle of wills?
This is an easy one for me. I have that bitch.
Oh yeah,
Jade Cargill, 100%. We're starting to see that AEW Jade Cargill that we've all been waiting for, starting to show through now. And it's a good match for her. It's a good, credible opponent for her to be a former women's champion. I can see Jade after this win going on to pursue a championship.
Yeah,
a singles championship.
Yes.
So
BJ,
I got.
How about you?
Everything DG said, and also I don't think Bianca's going to be there to help anybody. She's got her own things to worry about. So
I wouldn't
one-on-one.
I wouldn't mind seeing Bianca if come out during the match though,
or after the match.
Either way, I would love that she turns heel before her match, because that triple threat match, just like I think Seth Rollins is the clear heel person in the other triple threat match, just that we don't have anybody who's been declared the heel or done something to make it obvious.
Although we do have someone that's getting booed in the women's three-way match, and that is Bianca.
Yeah, I mean, by the fan, I'm just talking by storyline,
right.
Not just three people trying to compete for a championship.
Right. Okay, so back to Naomi and Jade. Both of you guys have Jade. Once again, I'm going to make it a clean sweep here. Jade Cargill is the Storm. And as we all know, Storm Aurora Monroe is one of the most powerful mutants of all time. Jade Cargill, one of the most powerful female wrestlers that we've ever seen here, too. So I think that she's going to come through, and Naomi not going to stand a chance here. So that brings us to the WWE Tag Team Championships, with the War Raiders defending the titles against the New Day.
Wrong one.
There we go. War Raiders versus the New Day for those tag team titles. The newly heel New Day.
The New Day.
New Day. So I'm going to go first this time just to keep us in the rotation here. And I think that the New Day, they are going to take these titles off of the War Raiders. Eric and Ivar, a couple of big dudes, but the New Day, they are just one of the greatest tag teams of all time. You can't deny that. They have set records with their runs that they've been on. They've been together for a decade plus now.
I'm sorry, what records do they currently hold now? None, because the Usos have those records.
Hey, they did set the record, though. They did set the record before the Usos. So you give them their respect there.
They lost all that when they shitted all over Big E.
Hey, they did what they felt they had to do. So I am going with the New Day to win the tag team titles here. So what do you say, DG? What do you got?
Well, first of all, I feel like this is a coin flip match. It's 50-50, in all honesty. And I also stand by that this is the bathroom break match during WrestleMania at some point.
A little early for a bathroom break.
It could just be me. There's not serious interest in this match for me. Like, all right, it's the New Day, who are going to be future Hall of Famers, right? All three of them guys are going to go in together.
Yeah.
You have the War Raiders, who are finally looking like a legit tag team just to get mowed down by New Day. No. I think the War Raiders retain.
Okay.
In all honesty,
right,
because
that's a big disagreement.
That's a big win for a tag team that you've been building up as monsters. They lost the match this week because they showed that they are monsters. So what's the point? Like, this legitimizes them as a tag team by beating the second greatest tag team in WWE history.
All right. BJ, how about you? How are you feeling about this one?
I don't know what he was going on about a bathroom break match. I mean, I'm talking. You got 2 future Hall of Famers and Xavier and Woods. You got the freaking War Raiders. Like this is. You don't need a build-up. This is an action-packed match. Unfortunately, as much as I love them, the War Raiders don't feel like kind of feel like transitional champions in this. I don't know. I can't see in the crystal ball going forward what might become of this whoever wins this. They kind of feel transitional.
So that means New Day. All right.
I just don't think they're like. I'm not going to say the match is going to be bad or anything. I just think this might be what, like, when we go back and look at the card, this is going to be one of those matches to where we were just like, it happened.
Is this the only 2-on-2 tag team match?
No, there's one other tag team match on this card.
Yeah, that's coming up on the women's tag match on night 2.
Okay, there is a women's. That's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll get there.
Yep. All right, but next we have the U.S. title, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. This one, DG, you start us off here. Who do we got?
Jacob Fatu. If I have to explain it, you're all a bunch of marks.
So, BJ, do you agree, and would you like to explain?
I figured you're going to want me to, but no. I think LA Knight. Just real quick, I think LA Knight's run has been good. He's cooled off a little bit, which is expected. But right now, I don't think LA Knight needs the title necessarily. It might be time to freshen up the main event scene some and put some new faces for whoever comes out as champion to face, because we really haven't had Cody Rhodes versus LA Knight and John Cena versus LA Knight possibly, or whatever show, maybe LA Knight for the world championship once a draft happens or whatever. But Jacob Fatu, 100%. I know we had the discussion before whether they should put gold on him or not, but if you're going to put him in this position, having a dominant champion like Jacob Fatu hold that championship for a while will do a lot, not just for the championship, but for the person that eventually beats him. If that happens.
Yep. All right, so BJ, who do you got in this one?
I honestly don't want either of them to win. Like, neither of them need it.
So is this your bathroom break match?
Second of all, LA Knight, like, what's that?
Is this your bathroom break match?
No, because Fatu's in it. But I am a firm believer that Fatu doesn't need a title, first of all. But second of all, like, LA Knight, like, I think he's hit his upside. I don't think he's going any higher than this. He doesn't need to be in the main event picture. I will not be for that. I will not be about that if he's like, oh, I'm challenging Cena. No, come on. You're LA Knight. Stick with the U.S. title,
I'm just saying, he's one of those guys, like a Jericho, right, who can be at the top of the mid-card and also step into that main event scene whenever he's needed. That's what made Jericho
get to the middle of the mid-card first.
He did wrestle against Roman Reigns.
As much as I don't want this to happen, I think it would be a poor creative move. Fatu wins.
All right, Fatu wins.
I said before, I disagree on it being a poor creative decision, because a dominant champion like that, let's look at the likes of Oba Femi in NXT, what he's done. And
it's putting a hat on a hat.
But I think Fatu's earned the right to have a championship run, whether he needs it or not. Like, that's where we're at this point.
I don't know. He hasn't really done much.
You mean, so just putting out Braun Strowman isn't doing much? He literally put Braun Strowman on the show.
Honestly, like, didn't Ellsworth do that too? Like, no, that's not a big deal. Like, everybody beats up Braun Strowman.
Ellsworth, you're back in the penalty box, sir.
All right, well, BJ's in the penalty box. I'll make my pick while he's in the penalty box, and I am going with Jacob Fatu as well. I think that he's the one that does bring gold back to the bloodline first.
Are you going to
And-
be good and not say stupid things?
I can't promise that.
Okay, I'll take it.
So yeah,
So
I
please-
think that Fatu does win that belt. He brings that gold back to the bloodline. He's the first one to bring gold back to the bloodline, which means that he is going to try and lay claim to the leadership role of the bloodline now.
Now, which
And
would
that's
be also,
where we get some dynamics happening.
yeah, which would also be interesting is if not only does he win gold, even if it's a mid-card title or not, what if Jey Uso does win the world championship? That's two guys who are not Solo or Roman Reigns bringing gold, especially if Roman Reigns loses his triple threat match. The story, not to try to get back into that bloodline story, because it's been nice having a breather on it and it being separated and everybody kind of doing their own thing. But we're starting to see that
It's still
Roman
there in the
return.
background.
Yeah, because we're seeing that original Roman return now. We're seeing things get back to the status quo.
Yep. So
Just
all three of us are going for Fatu in this one. All right, and that brings us to the WWE Women's Championship match between the current title holder, Tiffany Stratton, and everyone's favorite, Charlotte Flair.
I'm going to say something. This is another one of those graphics I actually really like. They did a good job animating them on this graphic. Because all these I got from the WWE.com. So credit to WWE.com for the great graphics.
Well, I'd hope they'd have a good graphics department.
Well, if they don't, they can always reach out to Eclipse Graphics. And they would be more than happy to work with WWE on all their graphic needs.
Oh, I'm sure they would.
But yes, Charlotte and Tiffy, boy, this was probably a match originally I would have had, and I'm going to get refreshments or go to the bathroom spot of the card just because it's Charlotte. But after 2 weeks ago, and then this week, now that they get to play and blur the lines of kayfabe some, I'm actually interested in this match now.
They got me. They got me somehow. As much as I can't stand Charlotte, now I'm interested.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of either of these two.
Yeah. So BJ, since they got
I've
you
never
in
really been a Tiffy fan.
Since they got you, BJ, who do you got?
Same. Yeah, it's another coin toss match. Charlotte wins LOL, or like the young, the young warrior with a heart of gold. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one. But it is the WWE, and I'm going to say Charlotte wins LOL, as much as I do not want that to happen.
How about you, DG?
I kind of wish there was a Money in the Bank briefcase so that somebody could cash in and
make this interesting.
Yes. Honestly, as we've talked about, I don't think Charlotte needs the championship. I think Tiffy just having the match with her says a lot about what they do see in Tiffy going forward, and that Tiffy should retain against Charlotte. Let's see Charlotte with some adversity against her now going forward. Let's see what she's willing to do to get back and not have a title opportunity handed to her. Because that is why us as fans rebel against her, because we see it and we instantly go back to Cena in the late 2000s and early 2010s. No matter what happened, you pull the title off of him, 2 weeks later, it's back on him. Or you hold a one-night
Right, that's why they're multiple-time champions. None of their reigns meant anything.
Unfortunately, I hate that I have to agree with that such horrible take because, well, the Cena era. I'm putting myself in the penalty box for having to.
Well, damn it. We never got an official prognostication out of him before he went to the penalty box.
Tiffy to retain.
Tiffy to retain. Okay. And now that he's in the penalty box, I am going to also go with Tiffany to retain because, yeah, Charlotte doesn't need the belt here. Tiffany does. Tiffany, that belt has been her identity since she's gotten it, and it's a good part of her identity. It's really helped her identity a lot here. I think she needs that belt. I think she needs to hold on to that belt to stay relevant for a little longer before she can really fully be established. And that is my reason why I am going with Tiffany Stratton in this one to hold on to her championship belt.
Yeah, I hope
B-
I'm wrong.
Yeah, we all hope you're wrong, BJ, because we've all seen the Charlotte title runs and they all end with an injury. How am I here by myself now? How does this happen?
You're not. He picked Charlotte.
All right. So this brings us to the world title match between Gunther and Jey Uso. In the rotation, it is my turn to go first with my pick here. And wow, this one is hard for me to pick because Jey Uso really been proving that he belongs in the main event scene, but he also gets the yips when he's there. Gunther has proven that he is that dude who can beat anybody, but you can still get in his head. Is Jey going to be in Gunther's head enough, or is Gunther going to be in Jey's head? Who's really the composed one here? Who's going to come out of it on top with the less mental mistakes? With this way, this one is positioned on the card right before the Roman, Seth, and CM Punk match. I'm going with Jey. I think they give us Jey Uso winning the belt at this time. I think it's the right time for them to pull the trigger and put this championship on Jey.
Personally, I think this card might get moved around some, and I could see Jey and Gunther opening the show to set the tone for the energy with Jey's entrance.
Yeah, and in which case, I'm pulling even harder that Jey is going to win that title if that match is first.
Because for me, it is really disappointing that you have the nickname on him, main event Jey Uso, and you do not have him in the main event.
Well, you could call this the co-main of night one if you want to, because it is in that slot.
Oh, I'm co-main event Jey Uso.
Yeah. Pretty much. So who do you got in this
I
one?
didn't see that all the match. I didn't see that the full card placement got announced.
Yeah, they announced it they announced the matches, not in any specific order of what they're happening that night.
They did seem to be listed in a specific order,
yeah,
though.
From the main event down.
Yes.
To the opener.
I got you.
So it was kind of how they named them off for both nights, more as this is the confirmed order of the card or whatever, because that could be up in the air till 10 minutes before they go live.
Right.
Yeah. Regardless of the spot, as I've said, I feel like we've rehashed Sammy and Gunther for last year with this story. I really like the idea that Gunther was so far in Jey's head that instead of them being actual botches, they were scripted in to show that he wasn't on top of his game like he'd been all the way up to choosing Gunther.
Because he was shook.
Yeah, and it took what Jimmy telling him, like, why are you letting him in your head?
It took a talk from his mama.
Yeah, it took Jimmy getting Apollo created by Gunther in front of him.
Yeah.
He dies.
Yes.
Like I said, this really does.
Mama Adrian came to Russia to talk to Jimmy.
Like, this does really give me those type of Rocky IV vibes. And this is a situation to where a loss won't hurt Gunther, and it would elevate the hell out of Jey Uso winning that championship from him. This is another one, though, also, that's a coin flip, because either way, I think we get a banger of a match. But I am going with Jey Uso. Yeet.
All right. And that brings us to you, BJ. What do you got?
Gunther.
Interesting. Not going with the sweep here. What do you break it down? Oh, penalty box before I even ask him to break it down.
I'm not sold on Jey. He's sloppy, and I'm not just talking about his scheduled botches. Like, his matches just aren't interesting. Like, I look back at a couple pay-per-views, PLEs over the last year. His matches were the worst match on the card. You know what I mean? Gunther is he's just a very dominant heel champion. There are better people out there to take him on. I don't see it being Jay.
Yeah, but it also comes to this becoming a WrestleMania moment, and sometimes looking at it, you gotta look at the moments, right? And that crowd, imagine that crowd's pop with Jey Uso winning the championship. And it's not to say that Gunther won't get another championship opportunity, because there's something there to be said that once the draft happens or some type of switch of stuff, if he's not champion, so he's not safe. What if he goes to SmackDown and we're now talking about Gunther versus John Cena or Gunther versus Cody Rhodes? Because the last match they had was for the Crown Jewel Championship. It wasn't even for either world championship at that point.
Right. It was for the Saudi championship.
Let that happen when Cody loses and make him come over and challenge Gunther for the title.
No, I'd rather, honestly, I'd rather see Gunther chasing at this point again to get back there. Gunther's had his run, just like he did with the Intercontinental Championship. I don't think Gunther needs a championship anymore. I think he's going to win multiple world championships, but have we run the course right now of, hey, maybe the pressure got to the ring general because he'd never really been in this position. Because they have teased that with the last couple feuds. Hell, we're talking about at the last WrestleMania, Sami Zayn beat him.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to go just by his record,
he had to lose the belt somehow.
I mean, if I'm going to go by his recent history, he won the matching for the Intercontinental Championship 2 years ago. And retained. He lost last year. Like, maybe this is a case of just where, hey, he's had a great run. Jey Uso, and honestly, I don't see Jey Uso having a long reign as champion. But I think as a WrestleMania moment, and to keep that crowd energized, because like I said, this isn't main eventing, so I feel like this is the opener of the show. So that you get that energy for the rest of the show, you put that title on Jey, and you could do a rematch at the next pay-per-view if you don't think it's going to work, and put the title back on Gunther, and he can win it like a heel should win a championship. And you cheat Jey Uso. You just don't do it at WrestleMania.
All right. And this brings us to Jay's cousin, Roman, and his feuds with Seth and CM Punk, and the wise man in CM Punk's corner. Who do we have in this matchup? Danger Ginger, you're first up in the rotation.
Oh, yeah, know what? I have no idea. Like, just looking at this graphic now, right? And the fans' reactions to everything. Like, who in reality is going to win this? I think it's whoever Paul Heyman leaves with. And I kind of gotta say that might be Seth Rollins.
Paul does owe him a favor now.
Which doesn't mean that it'll happen at WrestleMania, or even if that's legit, But
Right.
just the idea, I didn't take you out, so now you owe me.
So now you owe me a favor. Yeah.
Yeah. I can make a case for all three of these guys, but there has to be a winner, and I feel like
There can be only one.
I kind of wish this was a number one contenders match as well, just to kind of add the pressure and the hype onto it, that the winner of this match, because I feel like the winner of this match goes on to get a world championship match, whether it's for the world heavyweight.
It's got that feel, yeah.
So you know what? How much I'm probably going to regret this. I'm going CM Punk.
Ooh, all
But-
right.
But honestly, and that I could see Heyman leaving with Rollins still, even with a CM Punk victory.
So going against your original thesis there.
Honestly, I want to pick Roman because I acknowledge my tribal chief.
So, but you're not picking Roman.
No, if you're going to ask me who the smartest guy is in this match, it's CM Punk. It's
So
not Rollins.
That's why
it's
you're
not-
taking CM Punk.
Yeah. Punk knows what he's doing. And that main event victory, it would be the last thing he's missing.
All right. BJ, how about you? Do you see Punk winning this or one of the other two guys?
As far as I think Heyman's involvement is going to be a negative for Reigns more than anyone else.
How so?
Just like, okay, so he's not taking sides, so there's going to be a situation where he does something in favor of Punk, and Roman might take offense to that and let his guard down.
Okay.
So I feel like that element of it, like, in my mind, that eliminates Roman there. So it's between Punk and Seth. Having said that, whoever wins this match is going to be in the title picture in the near future. I think Punk needs it more. And I think they'll definitely put it on Punk. Having said that, I don't know who Heyman is going to leave with.
I can see the match playing out. Punk gets the win, but then Seth still goes after Punk, and that's where we get kind of the setup that Heyman was the distraction. Maybe to a point that we get some type of reemergence, and Heyman's able to bring together Roman and Seth. That would be a huge deal, because that was even brought up for War Games. Who was the first person they asked?
Seth.
But I'm sorry, continue.
No, I was pretty much done.
Okay, so you are picking Punk?
I'm going with Punk.
All right. So that's 2 for CM Punk. I am going with Seth Rollins.
Big John Studd? Oh.
Seth, yes. Big John Seth.
The white type.
I think.
Where are we at
Seth
here?
Rollins. I am going with Seth Rollins. He is the master manipulator here. He is playing everybody here.
You know what?
He is even playing Paul here. He is manipulating this whole thing. And Roman, he tried to tell him that CM Punk was bad news. Roman wouldn't listen. Rollins got to do what he's got to do to put Punk down. Now, if Roman's going to get in the way, Roman's going to want to try and get Punk on his own. Fine, you can go after Punk, but I know you're going to have to try and get me at the same time, which means I'm going to have to get you first. Rollins has got everything thought up here. Rollins is walking out of here with Paul Heyman after his favor is called out. And, yeah, Rollins takes this one.
I agree with you on one of your points there, to where I'm going to kind of...
I made a good point. Holy crap.
Seth is the master manipulator in this situation. CM Punk is more of the strategist in this situation, because he's taken Heyman away from Roman. He knows he's in Seth's head, because all Seth does is complain about him.
Mm-hmm.
Roman's just like, I'm trying to get back to my championship, so if I have to go through you two to do it, so be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
all right. So we got 2 for Punk, 1 for Rollins, nobody for Roman. We think the Tribal Chief walks out of WrestleMania for a second time in a row with a loss.
But not any fault of his own.
No.
I will say it won't be any... Like, that's a situation where if we get the Heyman turn, it's probably during a Roman or Punk pinning moment.
Right.
Where one of them's going to get the pin.
Mm-hmm. And that's where Heyman
I
gets
just had
involved.
another vision. Maybe Heyman plays into the kind of being on Rollins' side and then screws him in the end.
Plays into Punk and screws Punk over.
It could go any of the 3 ways at this point.
Yeah, he could play into anybody he wants to and screw anybody over. We don't know what Paul's
he might
thinking
not
exactly.
even be involved that much.
Yeah. Seth could stomp him out of the way early on. Who knows?
Yeah.
And he'd still leave with Seth.
Yes. Prettiest girl at the party.
All right, let's move on to night 2.
Night 2 starts us off with AJ Styles versus the most annoying man in WWE, Logan Paul. So, This one, BJ, you are first up to bat here. Who do you got? I think that's obvious.
Gonna go with AJ. You know what? That's my heart pick. Yeah, I think they're gonna light a fire under Logan Paul, start giving him some wins, start making him look a little more credible. AJ's on the way out. He's getting up there in age. I don't feel like there's any push or anything coming. Yeah, I'm gonna change my mind there. Logan Paul.
All right, so I'm scratching out AJ and writing in LP because I don't have enough room for Logan anymore. All right, Danger Ginger, who do you got in this one?
You know, how much I want to pick AJ Styles. He exactly doesn't have the greatest record at WrestleMania.
True.
You know,
The Undertaker's fault.
Number one, that's one of my favorite all-time WrestleMania matches, the Graveyard match.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wish that COVID WrestleMania could have had fans, because that was actually a really good show, and it just doesn't have that same energy because there's no fans there.
But if it had fans, we wouldn't have gotten those cinematic matches that we did.
Yeah, we wouldn't have gotten Bray Wyatt versus John Cena.
Oh yeah, you know, the acid trip seen around the world.
Yeah.
You know what though?
One of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
You know what? With everything going on with Karrion Kross, like, I think their storyline isn't necessarily for a feud, but maybe an AJ heel turn and them teaming up.
Maybe a faction.
I want to say a tag team, not a faction. We've seen that faction route go, and the Final Testament, all but Karrion Kross has been fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's because you bring in AOP, who already got fired for being personality-less, and you try to do the same thing with them again.
But
Paul Ellering added nothing.
Yeah, but also they really didn't do anything with them to make us.
Not even a ventriloquist dummy.
But you know what? I'm going to go AJ Styles here, which I think eventually, because if they're going to lead into a feud with Karrion Kross, like, we need to have some steam behind him, to where Logan Paul, if you want him to look credible, he needs to show up every week or every other week. He actually needs to become full-time. Because the whole...
Hasn't he been?
No, he hasn't been. When was the last match he had before now? Was Elimination Chamber?
Yeah.
He hasn't been around lately.
Yeah, I mean, showing up and cutting promos is one thing, but he's not wrestling regularly. You know, you need to build that legitimate factor with him to make, because how much we all hate to admit, he's good in the ring. Like, he holds his own. He is entertaining in that ring. And him being an a-hole, like in real life on the mic, just works perfectly for him and makes him easily hateable.
Yeah.
But I think AJ Styles has this. Especially if there's a possibility that this could be his last WrestleMania. Not confirmed or anything, but just the idea, since he's getting older, what if he gets injured or something, right? Like, I think you're going to want to put him in a good spot, and this is a good spot for him at the moment.
Well, I am breaking the tie once again here, and I am going with Logan Paul. I think that Logan Paul gets the better of AJ. Yeah, you want Logan Paul.
You went AJ,
so
I went Logan, bro.
Yeah, you started AJ and you switched to Logan. So much as I hate
you're saying, okay, my mistake. Yeah.
No, I'm picking Logan Paul to win this one over AJ Styles, because I think AJ, this storyline with Karrion Kross, I feel like it does work better if AJ goes into it with a loss under his belt, especially to a type like Logan Paul, who is just universally reviled by most of the fan base in the WWE. And Logan Paul, with this win, he gets a little more cocky, builds onto his character, doesn't hurt. Yeah, he could definitely be helped with a win against AJ here, and it definitely helps his character and personality for his wrestling persona. AJ Styles going into this Karrion Cross storyline with a loss here, I think it adds to that storyline because then he's got that darkness that's still lingering over him. Karrion Cross, that devil on his shoulder, where does that devil live? In the darkness. And that brings us right to where we need to be for that storyline to start with an AJ loss at WrestleMania. So
I could see Karrion Cross costing AJ Styles that match.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's one of those things that becomes a launch pad, like before, right? Us just talking, where do things go? Because WrestleMania is typically the end of a lot of storylines, but it's also been one that starts storylines.
Yeah, it's kind of like a season finale cliffhanger type of thing. Where you're wrapping up all the storylines from the old season, the past year, and you're also giving a little springboard into where we're heading for the next year. So, bringing one of the storylines to a close, next up, we got the Sin City Street fight between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. And I am first up here on this one. I am going with the big Scotsman, Drew McIntyre, over Damian Priest. I just feel like Priest, you're good. You are very good. But Drew McIntyre, and when he's in this mind frame that he has right now, you ain't beating him. Drew McIntyre is too much of a beast at this point. He is going to impose his will. He is going to come out on top of Priest in this one. Danger Ginger, you agree with me or no?
You know what? This is another one of those that is a coin flip, which I love for WrestleMania matches. If you look at the card, and you can say that a third of the matches are coin flips, right? That's a good card because that means the fans don't know which way we really want to lean. Like Damian Priest, I think that he can hang with McIntyre on a one-on-one match. Let's not get that wrong. And realistically, as was said, this match was a year in the making. Last year, Damian Priest cashed in on him and took that moment right from him by cashing in and winning the World Championship.
Yep.
Saying that, I think that McIntyre will do everything in his power to win. With this being a street fight, I think Priest gets this, and this feud continues past WrestleMania.
So you're going for Priest?
Yes.
All right, BJ, you're the tiebreaker.
In a street fight, advantage goes to Priest. I also have a feeling that after this feud resolves, whoever loses the feud will turn. Okay. If McIntyre loses the feud, he's going to turn face.
You know what?
If Priest loses the feud, he's going to turn heel.
I have a question real quick. So, we have the WrestleMania 13 Austin versus Hart match going into the Hall of Fame as a WrestleMania, as a moment or whatever they're calling it.
Right.
Could this be a match where they try to recreate the double turn and do the turn at WrestleMania? Because Priest have solidified with him storyline wise that he came from the streets. So him having a street fight should give him the advantage. We look at McIntyre like he's just able to go that route. That he's just as tough as Priest. So the idea that this could become a double turn, like this, if I were to say, like this could be that match if it's put down, laid out properly, could be the double turn of where we see Priest go back over that edge and start leaning back into that heel persona.
Yeah, I maybe they would tease it here and resolve it at the end of the feud next PLE.
Yeah, because like I said before, we live in an age of pro wrestling now where fans will cheer for who they want, regardless of being heel or face, and that's a beautiful thing because that means fans are investing in all the characters, regardless of their role.
All right, so BJ, we need to. Who is your official prediction here for this one?
Priest.
All right. So you got you guys both for Priest, me with Drew. All right. That brings us to the women's tag match between the champions Liv and Raquel and their challengers, BJ's girl Lyra and Bailey. So I know that DG, you're up next, but with this being a Lyra match, I want to hear from BJ first.
Take the floor, sir.
Woo.
Wow, that was really
Oh
exciting.
yeah.
That's my line.
Yeah. Bailey and Lyra all day. Liv and Raquel, there's just not a lot going on as far as interest. You know, like, and I feel like that might play into the Judgment Day.
I feel like there's no interest. This is a night 2 WrestleMania bathroom break match.
Match 3, night 2.
Agree, but at the same time, like, I'm never going to pass up an opportunity to see any of them in the ring. You know, like, all of them are amazing, but just the build has been on one-sided. You know what I mean?
What?
So how am I to think that there's any chance that the other side can win?
So who you got here, buddy?
Going Bailey and Lyra.
All right.
Well, that was a
down.
mistake.
What about you, DG? Who you got?
I think Liv and Raquel win this. Like, there's no reason for Bailey and Lyra to win the championships. I think that
Reluctant tag champions.
Lyra's also already the women's intercontinental championship, and it's a travesty.
Oh, right.
There's also a travesty in this that you have to, like I said before, you have your women's intercontinental champion on the card, but not your women's United States champion on the card, who's more over than Lyra Valkyria currently. Just over. Yeah. It's just something that kind of irks me a little bit with that. But I just look at this. I see one Bailey or Lyra turning heel in this match on the other.
So Lyra's the champion, so they win the belts. Not only the next PLE do they have to defend their tag team belts, but they have to face each other for that belt.
So they both have 2 matches in that one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Liv and Raquel retain. I think that Bailey takes it a bit personal that a year ago she was the Royal Rumble winner. She was competing for the WWE Women's Championship against Io. And now she's been relegated to a throwaway Women's Tag Team Championship match. Because there's no reason why this match, and which I said months ago, that somehow Liv and Raquel would get to WrestleMania with these championships.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought there would be more story behind it, considering how they have pushed Liv recently, and to give them a throwaway match like this with a makeshift tag team when you had enough women's tag teams to give them a legit competition.
How many did they feed them in the gauntlet match?
Yeah. Bailey and Lyra got fed 5 teams.
Yeah, and hold on. To start it off, they beat PFC. Okay, that's never happening. Like, if the booking is somewhat realistic.
I'm sorry, if it's me, I'm putting Zoe and Shayna in this match and not Lyra.
They are the most dominant.
Yeah.
There's no story behind them, but they are terrifying.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
And yet they were the first ones eliminated in the gauntlet match.
Yeah, and then you look at the rest of it, right? Meechin and BFAB, I don't see. Natty and Maxine,
thrown together.
I don't see.
Thrown together.
Also thrown together.
Yeah, and then you have PFC, the Party Girls, and the Secret Harvest, who just became a tag team. But God, how much sense it would have made that you have both your mid-card champions involved somewhere in some way involved in the same match. Or, or make this a triple threat. Do something to, but with all the multi-person matches.
You just said make it a triple threat?
Yeah. There's the most legit tag team there was Shayna and Zoe.
Too many triple threats. We should make this match a triple threat.
Hey, yo, dog, I heard you like triple threat, so welcome to Triple Threat-a-mania.
I'm triple threat, you triple threat dog.
We'll call it Triple Mania. No, that's already used. Okay.
Triple Threat-a-mania.
All right, so it's up to me
But
to
no,
break this
Liv
tie
and
here.
Raquel retain.
All right. I am going to break this tie. I'm going with the Jersey girl, Liv, and her partner, Raquel, to retain their titles. We all know my bias. I can't hide it. Sorry. It is what it is. But yeah, that crazy North Jersey, just going to keep that belt. Is what it is.
You know, maybe I would have gone. Maybe the original plan somehow was to have Lyra and Becky Lynch in this spot and not Bayley. Because like if Becky Lynch had returned and been in this spot, maybe I would look at it a bit different and not as much of a throwaway.
And they did plant the seeds for that.
Yeah. Like there was a history between Lyra and Becky going back to NXT when Becky went down and helped elevate her to the next level.
Yeah.
And not to mention when Becky left her last match, there was that backstage segment.
Yeah. So a little bit of history there. You know, like you couldn't just done this match on SmackDown or something and put the Machine Guns and Street Profits in its place.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania, like you built both these teams up, and the Machine Guns deserved a spot on the card.
Oh yeah.
I have 10% left on my battery.
Okay, then let's wrap up these final three matches real quick. We got the IC title: Braun Breaker, Dom, Finn, and Penta. This is going to be a hard-hitting affair. BJ, let's go to you first. Who do you got?
I would love to go Penta, but I think it's going to be. I think Braun's going to retain, honestly.
All right. How about you, DG?
Oh, I got Dirty Dom.
Dirty Dom.
I don't think there's I think it's time to put gold on him because he's the least, again, a match where he's least likely to win.
All right, and I'm in agreement with BJ. I think Braun keeps this one.
I'm not against Braun. I'm not against Braun keeping it though.
Yeah,
this is going to be
I'm not against Dominic losing. I think that it opens up a lot of storyline there, but Braun is a beast. I do not see him losing it, but also him keeping it also allows the Judgment Day storylines to open up as well for them to have their whole
I think Dom.
They're having.
I think Dom winning that title could be such the nuclear bomb dropped on that group.
Yeah, but also if they both cost each other the belt at the same time somehow,
same thing.
That's just as nuclear.
If that happens, I think Penta wins in, but I got Dirty Dom.
Yeah,
as my overall pick.
Well, how's my audio? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, cool. Because I unplugged my microphone to plug my.
Yep.
All right. So next up, we got the women's world title between Io Sky, the champion, and Bianca and Rhea, her challengers. BJ, we'll start off with you just in case your phone dies. Who you got?
It's plugged in. It should be all right. But this is probably the toughest call of the whole weekend. Io retains.
All right.
Wow. You know, I can see that, and then we can go into the Rhea Bianca feud and have them fight their way to the championship through each other. You know what? Oh, I hate that I'm about to say this. I'm putting myself in the penalty box.
If you hate what you're about to say, I think I know what you're about to say.
Bianca Belair wins the championship.
That's exactly what I thought you were about to say.
The reason I'm going with Io
himself in the penalty box.
Io is the one who's being pushed aside when Rhea and Bianca are, and that dynamic. I feel like they're overlooking her, and she's just going to come out of nowhere.
No, I do agree with that, but personally, if it's not, I don't think Io retains. I think it's Rhea or Bianca, but it's at a point to where if Io does retain, it's because they can't get past each other and she just takes advantage of a moment.
Yeah.
You know, especially after last year dropping the belt to Bayley at WrestleMania. And congratulations to Io, back-to-back years going into WrestleMania as the top champion on her show.
Oh, yeah. That's huge.
Right. So we've got one vote for Io with BJ. We got one vote for Bianca with DG.
You know what? No, I can't let that be my vote. I'm going Rhea.
You are
I'm
going Rhea.
I'm going Rhea. I
Okay.
can't pick Bianca Belair. What am I, some type of mark?
I can pick Bianca Belair. And I'm going to pick Bianca Belair. I think that she pulls some kind of underhanded tactics here. This is where her heel turn happens fully. And she pulls the underhanded tactic here that gets her the belt. That is what I see here. Bianca takes that belt through ill means and
She
becomes
ties
full heel.
Io to the turnbuckle with her hair.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. And then starts whipping Rhea with her braid and yeah.
Yeah. All
Stuff
right.
like that, yeah. Yeah.
Looks like
And
we are
this
on
brings us-
the main event.
we are Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. This is what we've been building to here, folks. And let's start off. Well, since BJ's phone is plugged in, let's start with Danger Ginger.
I'm at a
If we're
Who
going
do
to
you
talk
got?
about any match that would be the hardest match to pick for any reason, I feel
Yep.
like this one. Because of all the directions it can go. Does Cena get number 17, break Ric Flair's record? Does Cody do the unthinkable and actually defeat him in the match? I don't want to pick Cena to win this, but it's kind of hard to look at it and be like, where does Cody go from here? Cody has had a strong year as champion.
Yeah.
He really has. And especially the past, 5 months
Yeah.
of title defenses have been really rough on him.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that I don't see Cody winning back the title if he were to lose it. It's more of the idea of getting there. And if Cena wins, do we see Cena walk away with that championship? Like we have speculated could happen. Is it too soon to give Cena the championship? This is Cena's last
Well,
run.
he's been here for 20 years, so no.
Well, no, I mean in this final run.
No, if you're going to give him the championship, now's the time to do it.
So, I picked against Cody last year.
Mhm.
And, I'm going to pick against him again this year. I got John Cena winning this. And not just that, I think John Cena legitimately walks out with that championship at the end of the year. Like, let him have especially if this wasn't his last WrestleMania, I would pick Cody. But I think it being his last WrestleMania really, and of everything that could possibly happen. Like, what if the idea, and I saw a photo of this that somebody made, just as the idea here of, so let's say Heyman joins Seth night one, right?
Uh-huh.
And let's say this has all been a setup from the start now for the past couple months. Seth Rollins appears during this match, turns on Cody, joins him and Heyman join The Rock, and we get this monster stable of main eventers going forward.
The new corporation.
Yeah.
The new authority.
No, the
Yes.
new corporation. It's not the authority, it's the corporation.
Well, I was saying because Seth Rollins isn't.
Yeah, but it's The Rock. It's his group. He was a member of the original
Yeah,
corporation.
true.
It's the corporation. Or the corporate. Let's combine them. They're the corporate authority.
Authoritatively corporate.
No.
Christopher Daniels.
Anyway, now that we got rid of that stuff. But we actually do have one more graphic to look over with all this.
Okay.
And the true main event of who
I
will walk.
We
Oh,
didn't.
my bad.
You're the,
Well,
the
your
pick
pick
so
doesn't
far.
matter. Well, go ahead.
You're the only pick that matters, dude.
You're damn right.
All right, BJ, who you got?
It doesn't matter who you got.
For the first time in my life, I want Cena to win, and that's because in my head I've fantasy booked the next 6 months or 6 to 8 months, and it ends up with a rematch, Cody trying to get his belt back from Cena, and a double turn, where Cena turns back face and Cody starts his heel run that I've been waiting
Goes full
for,
Homelander.
and wins the belt. Yeah. So it all starts with Cena winning.
Personally, Cena's last match in this run with the championship, I want him to face CM Punk for the WWE Championship on his last televised appearance, and him beat Punk and leave like Punk left with the WWE Championship at Money in the Bank 2012, when his contract was up. Just what a moment that would be. Chef, who do you have?
I am either going to make this a clean sweep or I will be standing alone in my American nightmare. Which will I pick? Drama, decision, tension.
Apple Dough.
I am agreeing. I'm making it to clean sweep and going with Cena. The heel Cena is just too compelling. I want to see the belt on this John Cena. I want to see what he's going to do with it. I want to see Cody have to chase it again. I want to see all of that. Give it to me. The only way that happens, Cena has to take the belt. And I think that does happen.
Cena wins, LOL.
All right.
So I'm
And
just going to
with
go down and count how many matches we all have the same. So we've got Grande Americano, all of us. We got Jade, all of us. We got Fatu, all of us. And then we've got Cena.
Are different.
Yeah, we've only have those 4 matches where we all picked the same. Every other match,
So then, for the last prediction, which nobody had any clue about, so I didn't say anything, who wins the WrestleMania predictions?
Well, I predict myself, obviously.
Well, obviously, if you're not putting yourself over, who else is?
Nobody.
I'm also the WWE champion, so.
You and about 50 million other people.
But not Kevin Owens.
No, definitely not KO.
But yes.
All right. I got our picks right here.
All right. And everybody, don't forget to join us this week, starting tomorrow night, for our live watch-alongs of every WWE wrestling show. Starting
live
with
talk-alongs.
Yes, starting with Raw Monday night, NXT Tuesday night, SmackDown Friday night, Stand and Deliver Saturday afternoon, and then night 1 of WrestleMania Saturday night, night 2 of WrestleMania Sunday night, and then the Raw after Mania.
We'll all be there sometimes all the time.
Yep. As far as I know, I am only going to miss Tuesday, and I might be able to pull some strings and get there for that, but I still need a way to watch that live. So doubtful I'll be there Tuesday.
I'll be there Monday, Tuesday. I know I'm going to be late Friday, but I'll be there eventually for SmackDown.
It's long enough, so.
And we will have special guests for a lot of these shows.
Yes, we will.
Yep, I'm doing my best to line some stuff up here.
Some that we've seen on the show, some that we have not before.
Also, we could or could not. I'm not making any full promises, but there are a couple people I know going to WrestleMania, and we might get live check-ins before the show to gauge everything going on in Las Vegas during WrestleMania.
Very nice.
And then don't forget all your graphic needs. If you need graphics, reach out to Eclipse Graphics via email or direct message on Instagram.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, hold on.
Ring the
We
bell
have
and
one
get-
more thing. Hold on. We have one more thing.
2. The match of the week. All right.
So anybody going once, going
All
twice.
right, sure.
I'll go.
I'll start
My
us off
match of
right
the
here.
week.
My favorite match this week was the match between the Ops and at the end of AEW, the Ops versus crap. Why am I just crap? The Death Riders.
Death Riders.
Why did I was intentionally
Because they're
blanking my mind
irrelevant.
with the name.
Blackpool Comp.
Yes. So, but that was it was a good match. You know, you had just Samoa Joe and Hook. I like those two guys as a team. I like the fact that they actually got a win over the Death Riders.
Yeah.
Plus, it also now sets up the whole another feud for the Trios Championships there. And if there's one team that I think that could potentially take it off of the Death Riders, it's the Ops. Yeah. So I'm giving that my match of the week right there, not only for the match, but also for what it sets up going into the future.
My match of the week from Collision in the Owen women's quarterfinal
Two
match.
AEW match of the week.
Jamie Hayter and Billy Starks for my match of the week. Now, that's not to say a lot because I had a couple from Dynasty. I thought Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight was an amazing match. And then same thing with Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe. Like, if it's one thing I'll say, and those were both Owen matches.
Yeah. Owen always has good matches.
Yeah, Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, also amazing match. And I don't know if it's just because it was the last match I saw of the week that I considered for match of the week. But I thought those women, especially Billy Starks, only being 20, went out there and put on a great show with Jamie Hayter. And that they both looked excellent in that match.
All right. BJ, what's your match of the week there?
I might get thrown in the penalty box for this one. But I really enjoyed the women's gauntlet.
Okay. And there it is, penalty box. It was a quick little 2-second one.
I kind of considered it up until the point where I realized Bailey
What was happening?
That they were literally making them run the gauntlet.
I knew exactly what was going to happen in that match as soon as I saw Bailey and Lyra coming out together.
Up
only
until the
challenge
end.
they put out first, and then everything else thrown together or like pushover team.
Just like when the Secret Harvest came out, I thought they were going to be the ones to win it. At that point, I'm like, all right, you're saving this for the last. You know, get them out there.
That was just the biggest test.
Apparently,
specifically the portion of the party girls versus Bailey and Lyra. That was great. Plus, they're really entertaining.
Yeah. All right. That does it for us. We got all 3 matches of the week. We got our predictions in. We're here tomorrow night. Next 2 weeks from now, we got the
yes. So the regular mainstream show for us, BJ and DG Talk Wrestling, will actually not be airing again for a couple weeks. We will be doing our watch-alongs for WrestleMania week, leading all the way up to the Raw after Mania. After that, the following Sunday, we will not be live, as we will be live in attendance in Chester at Harrah's, Philadelphia, for the 25th Taxi Anniversary Show with Simon Gotch and Drew Gulak headlining, double main event with Rick Blade and Face for the SPO Championship and much more. 25-man battle royal to crown the new Skywalker champion. It's looking to be a great show.
Still can't believe this is the first time we're getting to see Gotch and Gulak go against each other. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, we got Ruthie J from the NWA taking on Angel Metro. It's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. Pay attention to all our social medias because at some point, we will be going live on social media from there, probably before the show. Maybe not necessarily here, but most likely Instagram if it's not here live on YouTube.
Maybe during the show, too.
Yeah. Who knows? You might see some great wrestling via one of our lives. We will see.
I'm going to go live from under the ring at some.
With homeless
Nobody wants to see the little people's court, okay? Besides me. But yes, everybody, great show this week. We look forward to seeing everybody joining us during our live streams throughout the week. It'll be some combination of us at one point or another with some special guests here and there. But we are looking forward to doing this and having a fun time doing it in the process. At least we hope.
Yep.
So
all right,
on
ladies and
that,
gentlemen,
everybody be good to each other. Keep putting good into the world. And we will see you tomorrow night for the first of our watch-alongs. And
Hey, I'm Livewire Charlie.
And I'm Dangerous.
And we are Live Danger.
And you're watching
BJ
and DG
Talk Wrestling.